Put the children to bed. It's time for Dan and Aldo to bare their souls.
I love the Chicago Bears more than I do masturbating, and that is a lot.
Then, with 3 seconds left, Bob Avellini throws a 30-something yard touchdown pass to Greg Latta, and the Bears win, and I literally shit my pants. I swear to God, I literally did.
Eric Kramer, for me, I love the guy. He's a tragic figure. I mean, he embodies all that is.
If they don't run the ball here, I'm going to vomit. I swear to God.
Look, I don't mean any disrespect. He just didn't play that well. Not for a guy of his caliber.
You know, they won, but I'm going to be miserable all week because they stunk.
I don't really have any recollection of that at all, but I guess perhaps I blacked it all out.
So, Dan, tape is the ultimate tool for scouts and for coaches to evaluate players, to detect plays and so forth. And they spend hours looking at tape, right? Why do they so often get shit wrong?
I love the efficiency of bourbon.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dan and Aldo.
Dan McGuire, how are you?
I mean, I'm great. After a Bears victory on Sunday, how could I not be?
Sweet was that win. They looked like in the first half that they were going to get annihilated by Stafford, but they turned it around and won easily.
You know, if you don't mind me going off on a rant here for a second.
Not at all.
I'm having a difficult time hearing you, by the way.
You are?
Yeah, you seem really far away from the mic.
Let's see what I can do here. Audio.
I see you well, but I'm not hearing you well. But maybe I'm in my mid-40s. Maybe it's my hearing.
How is this? Testing
This
one,
is so
two?
much better.
Yeah.
So much better. No, last week, here's my rant. Last week, we heard from all the experts, all the people at the newspapers, all the people at the radio stations. Everybody said the Bears have to run the ball. They have to run the ball. Caleb threw too many passes at Lucas Oil Stadium. You can't do this formula. Well, the Bears respond by doing exactly what everyone said they had to do, by running the ball. They even had an I formation, for fuck's sake. And right. Caleb didn't have, but his pass attempts, I think, were in the 20s. And yet I'm still hearing them being criticized for, well, you only had, so many yards in the first half. I forget the exact, there wasn't a lot of passing yards and wasn't a lot of running, but they stuck with the run, which is what they were told by everybody they had to do. And yet they're still criticized for it. That's, I don't know. I feel like sometimes the media, they get what they want, and then they still have to find a reason to bitch. Maybe that's their gig. But if I'm the Bears, man, I'm like, fuck you. You're the experts. We did what you said. Give us some fucking praise here,
Now, who in the media was critical? Because I didn't hear much that I can remember anyway.
God, I listened. I was like, man, I want to hear Aldo and Buffon. Mm-hmm. You all weren't on, and they had baseball games on everywhere. But eventually I heard Yurko and Peggy, and then I heard Hamp and OB, and like OB was this like, I think he's going to have to take some medicine on the broadcast to stay alive this season. I'm not trying to be funny, but the guy was just screaming over and over, and Hampton was trying to tell him, he was like, look, they had 2 drives over 70 yards. And scored touchdowns on him. What more do you want? He's like, I want fucking offense. I want points. It's the National Football League in 2024. And he was just saying how he specifically was saying the first half was pathetic and people should be fired for that output. But it's like that cliche that sometimes when you start to run, you have to stick with it because maybe you'll wear them down.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like it was so good to see Swift get off too. Finally, like you could tell, like he had some passion behind him running the ball, especially on that touchdown when they zoomed into his face mask like Willie Brown in Super Bowl 11.
Yeah.
I just felt like it was a good win. Would you want it to come down that close? No, it'd be better if they picked up that first down at the end of the game and then just kneeled down and didn't have to punt again.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been preferable. But you still got a Brisker interception that counted this time.
Mm-hmm.
Although there was probably roughing the passer on that one we got away with.
There was.
But I'm just saying, a little too close to call, I get. But fuck, at the end of the day, it's a win. And after they beat the 49ers last week, I think a lot of people thought they were going to come here and beat us too.
Yep. I forgot what the spread was, but the Bears were favored, but really because of their home field advantage. I can understand some of the criticism, but I think everyone, is just anyone that's being critical is being too impatient. This thing has to grow. And there are some issues. Shane Waldron, had to be kicked in the butt by players to say, hey, let's play some more traditional football. Let's line up at the goal line in a power package, not out of shotgun. And Shane, to me, has been the biggest disappointment because I was hoping he would be better than Luke Getsy, but he doesn't at all look like it, although he has made changes now into the fourth game that Getsy didn't take into his second season to start listening to some of the criticism and correct some of the stuff, and they got on a nice winning streak towards the end of the last season. But as for this season, it's just going to take a while. We did a segment last night on the Buffon 55 show where we were comparing Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams. And Danny Shimon did a really fantastic job of pointing out the differences under the two circumstances that both of those quarterbacks are playing in. Jaden Daniels has got a college football coach, Cliff Kingsbury, who incidentally worked with Caleb Williams and was interviewed by the Chicago Bears for the offensive coordinator job. And for some reason, they didn't call him back, according to Kingsbury's people. They didn't call him back for a second interview. But back to the Daniels and Caleb thing. So he's got Cliff Kingsbury, who has him running an offense very, very similar to the one that was run down at LSU. So the kid doesn't have to do a lot of thinking. He has truly built an offense that is really beneficial to Jaden Daniels. And then, he's got an offensive line that is much better than the Chicago Bears offensive line. And then he went through a whole other list of things that point out why there is this statistical advantage right now for Jaden Daniels. And he's off to a 3-1 start, and Caleb is 2-2. So we have to hope that Shane starts to get it and starts to inherit some play calling, some schematics that are very beneficial to the quarterback. And we have to hope that the offensive line is going to start playing better, that we're going to see the type of protection for Caleb that other quarterbacks who are playing well in the NFL are getting. What did you think about the offensive line play on Sunday against the Rams?
I don't want to say that or imply that this was all Tevin Jenkins' fault, because it's not. There was a lot of blame to go around the first three games. But, and again, I hate to say it, the kid gets hurt every year. And now that he's hurt again, it seemed like they played better without him. Yeah. The second half, without him, again, it's just ironic. Sometimes you just get, and maybe it's just for one half and they go back to what they go back to. But for at least the second half, it felt like their best cohesive unit that at least what we've seen this season.
Mm-hmm.
And a big Pryor in the game. And then when you have Nate Davis coming, you're like, oh no. But it seemed to work, at least against the Rams for one half. And do we know the status of Jenkins for Sunday?
At Eberflus's press conference today, he said that Jenkins did not practice today, and it was more kind of a day-to-day. I highly doubt when the official injury report comes, if he's not doubtful on that injury report, then it's a scam. I can't think that if the guy doesn't practice on Wednesday and or Thursday, that he's going to be listed as questionable, which is the new probable. So
Right.
we'll see. It was very demoralizing to me to see that when Tevin Jenkins left the game, the offensive line started to play better. It's like, wait a minute, this is our best offensive lineman, or at least second be Darnell Wright, and he's been kind of laboring a little bit. I think maybe that bad back is giving him problems. He hasn't taken that leap from year one to year two that you want to see an offensive lineman that you're hoping has Pro Bowl capability. But back to Jenkins, yeah, I think it's over for him, man. I just don't know what is going on. He doesn't seem happy at the press conferences. He says the right things, and I know that Caleb really appreciates him. Caleb thinks he's a dog and spoke really highly of him at a press conference. But I don't know. Like Fuchisi says, although it's time to move on from Jenkins. And I think that should be the case. I think we could, in 2025, we could see 3 new starters on the offensive line. I think that they're probably going to still give Bates a chance to win the job once he gets healthy.
You mean at center or guard?
At center.
Okay.
If the Bears agree, I think I don't want to speak for you, but you're disappointed in Sheldon too, right?
Yeah, but again, I'm not breaking down the tape or anything. It seemed from the naked eye that Sunday was his best game, unless I'm mistaken.
Yeah, and you can make the argument that he has started to play better than games 1 and 2, that there's been some incremental improvement on his game. But I still think that there is a really good chance that we could see 3 starters, new starters, like 2 draft picks and a veteran acquired via free agency. I think it's just really necessary that this young quarterback have 2 Pro Bowl quality candidates, caliber players blocking for him, and hopefully a third, and then 2 guys like like a Braxton Jones or somebody that is considered developmental. You just need really outstanding players for a quarterback. And I love the Rome Odunze signing, but I don't know. Maybe they should have thought that out a little bit better. I know this. Keenan Allen won't be back next season, not after this start. Jesus,
No.
Where is the guy?
Well, he did have 3 catches, and he caught all 3 targets. And I know it wasn't for a lot of yardage, but, just again, it's only his second game. He could improve as well. But more than likely, he's going to be gone. And like you said, Rome and DJ Moore should be your starting wide receivers. You know what else is, not to change the topic, but if we're talking about people we have to think about what's going to happen soon, is Brisker and Gordon.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to have to, you'd like to think you're going to try to bring both of them back.
Yep.
I always felt like Gordon, I mean, I know he's playing good inside, but I just thought if they'd have given him a chance outside, he could make more splash plays myself. But maybe that leads to them giving him a smaller contract and he's staying.
Yeah.
But you figure he and Brisker are going to have to be paid.
Yep.
TJ Edwards is in the second year of his, I think, 3-year contract. I mean, certainly right now he's earned a new deal to stay.
Mm-hmm.
So you figure Allen's gone because they're not going to give that money to him. You got to pay the 2 guys on defense coming up at the very least, if not 3 of them. And then Edmonds is on year 2 of 4. So I guess he's pretty safe for another 2 years. But yeah, they've got to give out some contracts soon. So I don't think Keenan's coming back. And as you pointed out, we have to retool the offensive line. I mean, you figure Darnell Wright is safe at right tackle.
Mm-hmm.
Jenkins is probably gone after this season. So that means both guard positions are up for somebody to come grab them. Definitely the center and maybe left tackle, depending how Braxton finishes the year, because as everyone sees, he's still so, I don't want to say he lacks strength because the guy is like 15 to 20 times stronger than I am. But in the NFL sense, he gets pushed back on the bull rush frequently. And most people think that's because he hasn't hit the weight room enough, or maybe he just isn't capable. He is a 5th-round pick after all.
Right.
So maybe they have to upgrade there too. So there's a lot of changes coming. You just hope that this team right now at 2-2, I don't want to be too high after a win, but I'm high after a win.
Yeah.
I still want to think that maybe Aaron Rodgers can do us a solid and win in London against Minnesota.
That's
Green
this
Bay.
Sunday.
Yeah, and Green Bay's lost. They're 2-2. Detroit's 3-1, but it feels like we're in it if we can just get a little bit of help there.
Yeah, the quality of play right now is not nearly at the level of what I've seen of the Vikings play. It's close to where the Packers, I mean, this latest defeat really soured me a little bit on how good the Packers are going to be in 2024. Not that I had high expectations, or not that I want them to be good, but they kind of proved to me, because I was really impressed that they won 2 games without Jordan Love. But the 2 games that he has started, he's lost. And he hasn't looked really good in those 2 games. So, and then the Detroit Lions, their defense sucks. So they're ready to be taken. But the Bears' offense has to improve. The Bears' offense versus the Detroit Lions defense right now, they're not going to win. The Bears' defense against the Lions' offense, I think they can win, but it'll be close. So we'll see. Excuse me while I blow my nose. I've had bad allergies today. Go ahead.
Well, the good thing is, as you know, the schedule, the Bears are not going to play any divisional opponents until the second half of the season. And we're talking 2 months from now, or a month and a half from now, before the Green Bay game. It's like, what, November 16th, and today's October 2nd? So, yeah, I mean, we got time to find that rhythm and establish an identity before we have to play those opponents. I'm not hearing you again. I think you're on mute. Where you maybe blew your nose and put on mute?
Yeah, exactly. What do you think about what Tony says here about Sandgard and Bajan? They need to be paid too. Because to me, I think that those 2 guys are probably not going to get second contracts with the Bears, because they're going to demand money that the Bears should devote elsewhere. And in fact, I think that Bajan, I believe he's under a 3-year contract.
He is, from what I understand.
So, I would love to, get him to a point where we can showcase him and try to bring in a second-round pick. And now I say that with a heavy heart, because I really like the kid a lot. But you've now made this investment in Caleb, and you got to try to make that work. And the way to make that work is with a good play caller and good guys protecting him. He's got pretty much all the weapons that he needs. I mean, when Keenan leaves, you're going to have to replace him. But Rome should step up. So this is about making Caleb the best. And what do you think about what Swanky is saying? I would much rather let Brisker and Gordon go for star offensive line help, but the freaking Bears are going to put it in that defense. Wonder why we never develop quarterbacks. See Justin Fields right now. What do you think about that?
We went so long without a good safety. I mean, from Mike Brown
oh my gosh,
until when Eddie Jackson finally emerged at the time. It proved to be a bad re-sign, obviously, but at the time, initially, he was balling out before he got hurt in 2018, 2017. So I don't think you write off Brisker, even though this season he hasn't gotten as hurt as frequently. It seemed like it was ubiquitous every game. Oh, TV timeout because Brisker's down. I haven't seen that yet. Granted, it's only week 4 or going into week 5 now. But I think if he continues to play well, you have to keep him. You can't let your homegrown. You always talked about Adrian Amos leaving. Which was your draft pick. So we got to keep at least a good safety back there. We proved for a decade and a half we couldn't find one.
Hi, Heidi. I think the situation with Brisker is that he's learning how to tackle. He's a guy that kind of led with his head, and so he had these kind of minor concussions. He had a couple of other injuries too. But the bigger thing is, I think his tackling is different than J2K. If you've noticed something and want to post something, because he studies the film and knows about stuff like that more than I do. But I think that's a big part of why he has been injured less. And he is truly capable of being a Pro Bowl caliber safety. So, yeah, I would like to keep him. Kevin Byard signed a 1-year contract, so we have to replace him or extend him for a season or 2.
And he's still, in his late 20s?
He's, I think, 30 now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that, again, you would think if he wanted to stay, it might not be such a high price if he's in his 30s. I
think, a guy like Kevin Byard, he wants a Super Bowl. And, yeah, he wants just the security of, because this is going to be his last big contract. And after that, he'll be working at, I don't know, he could be working on TV or he could be working at Walmart. Who knows? But he's not going to make the kind of money he makes at the NFL unless he's got, some business stuff going on. So, I think based on how I've heard him talk and about his career and so forth, I think he would love to have a Super Bowl. And if this team looks like it's going to be ready to truly, truly compete for a Super Bowl in the next few months or the next year or two, yeah, I think he would like to stay.
I would think so too. And obviously, you might need an upgrade on defensive line too. Linebackers and secondary right now seem stout.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we're strong in linebacker. I think, again, I'm not the D coordinator here. I'm not the guy breaking down the fucking film. I guess I should quit apologizing for that. As a fan, it looks like maybe if you stayed in like the set and not nickel and had Sanborn in a little bit, along with Edwards and Edmonds, I feel like that they're less susceptible to getting gashed on the run that way.
Yeah.
Because I know they tighten up a little bit against the Rams late in the game, but it's 2 games in a row. It just felt like both teams, the Colts and the Rams, could get whatever they wanted at any time on the ground. Mm-hmm. And I know you can't be flawless in every aspect, but I mean, that if they can't play better against the run against, like, say, the 49ers or Green Bay or Minnesota, the better teams, then we're not going to go anywhere. They have to be able to stop the run. And when they're in that nickel all the time, it seems like they're getting gashed.
Yeah, the thing is that they're making a choice, and the choice that they've made is you're not going to beat us deep. You're not going to beat us with explosive passing plays. And so they are allocating fewer resources, less resources to stopping the run. So they're going to run the ball between the 20s up and down the field. That's part of the strategy of the defense, and then they don't break. I was frankly surprised that there was a lot of criticism of how poorly the Bears defense played against the Rams, and I just didn't see that. Yes, they accumulated a lot of yards, but the end result is always points. They scored less than 20 points. They didn't
even have to punt until like the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
that's the point. And they're missing their star wide receivers, and you're making these 2 tight ends and this no-name receiver, like Stafford's just going down the field as much as he wants, and then I'll sprinkle in these 2 backs, and you can't stop them. So at the end, like you said, they're holding them to field goals. But if we're playing Green Bay, Minnesota, Detroit, San Francisco later in the year, those are going to be touchdowns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Stafford didn't have his top playmakers, the Cooper Kupps of the world, playing,
or the left tackle.
Yeah, and we were still struggling a little bit. And again, you don't have to apologize for any victory, and I'm not trying to. I'm just saying that if I think, in my opinion, if we come out here and we just like, it's the Bears D, it's like 85 all over, you're going to be disappointed later because they got a lot of work to go.
I totally agree with that. They don't have the personnel, first of all. I mean, that 85 defense, they seriously had 9-10 guys that could have been starters for the Pro Bowl. I mean, it was just loaded with talent. And got to give Buddy Ryan his due. He created a defense that was perfect for those guys and perfect for the time. But it's like King Buka says, they're holding teams below 20 points. That's 10 straight games that they've done that. So they can run all day as long as they ain't scoring. And you got to have an offense that's going to give you 21 plus points every week. You're going to win. You're going to win a lot more games than you lose with this style. But I agree with you. It would be nice to stop seeing running backs picking up 10, 15, 20-yard chunk plays. No doubt.
Yeah, to further reiterate my point, not to like say, oh, I'm smarter than anybody else, but again, against the Colts, maybe you should have gone onside. He kicks off. They only need 2 plays to get the first down to run out the clock. Yep. I mean, you think at the very least they'll have to go 3 downs, right? No, two handoffs, they get 20 yards, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
They let Taylor explode for a touchdown. I mean, they need to tighten that shit up. But I think a lot of it has to do with playing in nickel a lot too, though.
Yeah, I totally agree. And one of the things that Greg says about why Kyler Gordon is so good, it's because he's one of the more physical cornerback or nickel cornerbacks in the NFL. This guy can tackle. He's aggressive. And most nickel cornerbacks are small guys because you need great quickness there. But Kyler has that and the ability to hit. But we're not seeing, like you said, we're not seeing that help the run defense at all. And I got to believe also that Tremaine Edmonds, our middle linebacker, could do a better job. It seems, last year he got off to a real slow start, which was understandable because he was injured a lot in camp. So he had a slow start. But this year, it's not as bad as last year, but I'm not seeing splash plays. And I see him on run plays getting blocked out, or he takes just one step in the wrong direction, and the running back is cutting to a hole. I have seen some all-22, particularly from that end zone look, which is great because you can see the holes open up or close real quick. And Tremaine is like a step slow, and I expect so much more out of that guy because he's such a fucking physical specimen, and he's a team leader and stuff. He's not playing as well as his talents say that he should be playing. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I could see that. I still think that the linebackers as a whole are a strength of the team, and maybe he will improve. And maybe that is the correct diagnosis for what's wrong with the run game. Or the run D. Once more, it feels like if you're a Bears fan, you can never criticize the defense. And I'm not trying to say like they're bums or anything like that. It's just, to me, it's alarming to see the other team just, man, it's just like, oh, is that 8 yards? Is that 12? Is that 15? Yeah, okay, they're not scoring touchdowns, but again, they're playing against the team that doesn't have its big stars.
Right. Yeah. I agree. It's troubling. And so when people are easily picking the Panthers to win this week, like you would like to say, this could be the blank revenge game. Put in Andy Dalton's
Please
name.
Don't be the Andy Dalton revenge game. I never liked Andy Dalton, not in Cincinnati. I didn't want him signed with the Bears for 1 year, $10 million or whatever it was. No, we don't want to lose to Andy Dalton.
All right, we got to give credit, to the defense, the offense. They all came to play, but special teams. Tory Taylor, this guy is looking like the stud that he was advertised. I put together this little 1.5-minute video of Caleb talking about Tory.
Yeah, no, he's unbelievable. I mean, that might have when we drafted him, the night we drafted him, that was the first time I've ever looked at a punter highlight tape. The night we drafted him.
Tory Taylor, one of the better punters in the country, and he just saw one. That's what Iowa does. Very popular player, too, I might add. Got the loudest cheers when they were announcing, and look at this. Tory Taylor put one inside the 5, and one. Level inside the 5 here.
And I love the guy. He's great. Obviously grateful to have him for what he does for this team, how he helps out this team. He's such a great human, let alone an outstanding punter. To be able to do some of the things he does, like I think it was 65-yard punt that pinned him at the 10-yard line. Before we go get that pick at the end of the game to go and seal it. So
plus to bring pressure, and the Rams did. Taylor with a big boot again. That is a 64-yard punt, and it's going to take a right turn out of bounds.
I mean, he's, like I said, unbelievable, and super happy to have him here. We talk and joke and laugh all the time, anytime we, get a chance to. Like I said, he's pretty sick.
He did acknowledge that he sent him a text saying you're not going to get to punt more with the Bears, but he said that was just part of several texts that he sent them that night, welcoming him to the team and being a teammate. So I love to see that relationship with Caleb and guys like Tory Taylor and other players on the team.
Somewhere Dave Wanstead's going, see, that's what we thought when we drafted Todd Sauerbrunn. This is exactly why we drafted Todd Sauerbrunn second. The second round in 1995, the punter from West Virginia, who ended up being a complete and utter bust. But, again, 19's doing everything we need him to do. And in that piece we didn't see, actually, I forget because what was that, 66? But the last punt ended up being, 37, 38 yards by design, right, so that they didn't get a touchback. And how many times have we seen, whether it be the last kid that they had, I can't even think of his name, or Brad Maynard or Maury Buford, anybody, go coffin corner, oh, it's a touchback.
Yes, exactly.
It's always a touchback until 19.
Right. So I was shocked by it. Tory Taylor was not on my radar when we were doing draft coverage. Shame on me. I frankly didn't know much about him, despite the fact that I saw a handful
Was
of
he
Iowa
brought
games.
here from Australia like some illegal sex trafficking by Tooch? Because he was at Iowa, right? That's Tooch's neighborhood.
That is true. Tooch, you're in the chat, so you want to respond to that? That he's 27 years old. I didn't realize he was that old. So
That's fine. He looks great.
he does. He'll be punting for another 10, 15 years in the NFL. So that is great. And it really is. He puts the fun in punting, and over the years, with all the disappointments that we've had with special teams, Cody Parkey, whatever the fuck his name was, and I just really have grown to appreciate what great special teams do. It wasn't until the days of Devin Hester that it really mattered much. And now, we've had some bad years for special teams, but it's finally now where, Cairo is just playing fucking great. I mean, did this guy ever miss? I don't think he's missing.
He missed the one from 56, but his career long is 55.
Yeah.
So you're asking him to do something he's never done before. And it was straight down the middle, but just a little bit short. And his career long says it's going to be just a little bit short if you exceed 55.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I understand. I like the fact that he will acknowledge I can't kick it that far. But I'll trade that in for a 90% kicking average inside the 50. I don't know if that's an exact
And
stat.
I'll admit, I wanted him gone when he was afraid to kick against Detroit.
Oh, I remember that. Yes. Yeah.
He had a bad year. He even said he had to, work on his stance again or something. He did something to change it. This plant foot, I forget exactly what it was, but what was that? 2000? Was that 22 when he was struggling mightily?
I think it was 22. Yeah.
Yeah. When he was like, "Oh, I don't want to try that kick," and it was like 47 yards. It's like, dude, if you can't make the 47-yard, why are you here?
Exactly.
But then again, remember how many kickers the Bears brought in 2019 after Parkey's double doink, and we still never came away with. Every team has the kicker that can kick for 61, it seems like, without any problems at all, except the Bears. But I'll take Cairo, like you said, making overwhelmingly the majority of them up to a certain point, and that being 55 yards.
Yeah, he's a weapon too. Him and Tory. Let's think of a nickname for those two guys. One's from Brazil, one's from Australia. So maybe
but the Australian kid, we know he hates all references to Paul Hogan, Crocodile Dundee. He does not want to be called the crocodile punter, which is pretty good.
I that one doesn't impress me as much as the Thunder from Down Under. Have you ever been to Vegas and seen the billboards for that show?
I've never been to the state of Nevada, period.
Oh, okay.
I say Nevada. Do you say Nevada or Nevada?
I say Nevada.
I do too.
But the Thunder Down Under is a male strip show. And so when you get to the airport in Las Vegas, there's all these billboards, all these muscular guys wearing jocks and their underwear stuffed with, either real penis or fake penis. I don't know, man.
Do you think gay men sit around and they're like, boy, I'd like to see a couple of cocks just dancing around in front of me? I don't even think gay men want to see male strippers, do they?
I think so. I mean, the Thunder from Down Under has run in Vegas for years and years.
Who was it again, the former Bear that stripped in the offseason?
Oh, it
wasn't Maurice. Was it Maurice Douglas?
Yeah, it was Maurice Douglas.
I know we had a male stripper on the Bears for years.
Tony says Australian Magic Mike. No, that doesn't work for me. Thunder from Down Under. That's what I said. So anyway, by the way, I wanted to talk a little bit about the trade because everybody is starting to talk about the trade. Panthers are coming in. The key guy in that trade for them has been benched, and that's why Andy Dalton. So if I were to ask you, Dan, can you name the players that so far we have gotten in return for that trade? Would you know?
Obviously, as a result, we got the number 1 pick this year because we traded the year before.
Right.
So we got DJ Moore part of the trade, and you can connect Caleb to that. The other draft picks from it eludes me.
Okay, well, here it comes. So the Bears received DJ Moore, Darnell Wright, Tyrique Stevenson, Caleb Williams, Tory Taylor, and next season's second round pick, which could be 33, 34, 35. Not bad, huh?
Yeah, it's good. But if I could speak to Carolina's perspective,
Sure.
Maybe this new coach doesn't like that kid, but you accepted the gig.
Mhm.
Okay, maybe he needed to be benched right now to help win some games. But if I'm the owner in Carolina, I'm like, man, if you can't, this guy's still got to, look at all we've given up.
Yeah.
This kid still has to be our future. And if you can't work it out, I'll bring in somebody else that can. There's no way I'm giving up on him yet. Like, there's
Well, he
no
would
way
not.
I'm moving.
He would not have given him the job, if he, didn't seek out that assurance. I think that the guy behind the benching of the quarterback, I think it's the owner, not
I
the
wouldn't give
Canellis,
up
the
on
new
that
head coach.
kid yet. I mean, he always thought he looked too small anyway.
Oh yeah.
But if you drafted him and you made that trade, you have to fucking make this kid. It's up to you to make him better.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, you can't give up on him after a year. I think that's tragic. That's the worst part of the trade is for that kid. It's not his fault. All those expectations got put on him because they made this trade for him. And as a result, they've already given up on him like 2 games into the next season. I mean, that's a lot of pressure. I mean, not that I really care. I'm not a Panthers fan, but if I were the Panthers owner, there's no way I'm giving up on that quarterback yet. We've invested too much into him. And to replace him with Andy Dalton, I mean, I don't want to shit on Andy because he could come in and, God, have his revenge game on Sunday.
But don't you think, though, Dan, that part of the mistake was that they threw him in his rookie year when they didn't have a good offensive line, when didn't have all the weapons around him to help him succeed? To me, it's like a necessary thing. The guy just looks terrified back there, terrified because the offensive line sucks. And they made some improvements on it, but he still has the scars from last year. So to me, I think you're doing him a favor. Let him watch Andy Dalton play. Let him grow a little bit with the clipboard in his hands and study from that standpoint. Bring him back in later in the year.
Go back to him though.
Well,
if
that remains to be seen.
It's over, like they're moving on from him, then I think that's a huge mistake.
Yeah. Jay Sanders says it happened to Trey Lance.
And Trey Lance really didn't even play that poorly. He played well against the Bears. He got hurt, and that was it.
Yep. All right, so check this out. Joe Person works for The Athletic. He was on the Take the North podcast with one of your favorite Chicago Bears reporters, Dan Wiederer. Okay. And this is what he said about that trade. This was from earlier today on the Take the North podcast.
It was clearly just an awful trade. I mean, the Bryce Young lasted 18 games, 2-14 last year. He missed one, and then obviously the first 2 games this year before they pulled the plug. And so there's no way to sugarcoat it. There's no way to, well, maybe if we revisit this in a couple years, unless it is just some remarkable comeback by Bryce Young for the Panthers.
Right.
This was a failure of epic proportions. Listen, the Panthers were not the only team that thought Bryce Young was going to be worthy of that first round number 1 overall pick. As you know and have reported, the Raiders tried to move up for it. And in fact, I think that's ultimately what got the Panthers to sweeten the deal.
Isn't that intriguing that we got that boatload because the fucking Raiders came in and helped us out? So besides building a statue for Lovie Smith, we need to build a statue for whoever was responsible for the Raiders to get the Panthers to sweeten that up.
Dan Wiederer should do a podcast with Dan Bernstein.
The
worst 2 Dans in the world.
I think that Wiederer does hits on Bernstein's show from time to time, so you probably could get a taste of.
You saw that Lawrence Holmes wanted out of his show and got out of it.
He got out of it. Yeah, that whole thing with Barstool Sports and Dan treating the guy like he was shit, that was like so embarrassing. I don't blame. It's funny too, because I had thought in the past, I wonder what Lawrence is thinking when he's listening to this fucking asshole talk shit. So by the way, I wanted to take you back to that day of the trade and get your reaction to what you thought after it. But I want to play this video that I put together to remind everyone, you and people in the chat, share your thoughts about that day when this trade was made. And as long as if I can find a fucking video, it's coming.
Was this Bear Their Souls from that time?
No, I wish. That would have been great. Oh, I should have thought of that.
I already know what my answer was at the time. I was like, all right, good. We didn't give up on Justin Fields.
Yes. Well,
that was my answer.
Too, how so many people were saying this is a great trade for Justin, because now you've got a real number one wide receiver. You got a real number 2 wide receiver in Chase Claypool, and you got a real number 3 receiver in Darnell Mooney. Well, 2 and 3 didn't work out too good. But here it is. Take us back almost about, what is it, a year ago, a little more than a year ago.
Yeah, this is a lot of back and forth, right, between the two clubs. There was a lot of back and forth there, and they were willing to deal.
Breaking news out of the NFL, and it is big. The Chicago Bears are trading the number 1 overall pick.
The Carolina Panthers have been searching for the last several years for their franchise quarterback, and they now have the first opportunity in the draft to take one.
Kevin, let's give you a little bit of the backstory. These talks have been going on and have intensified since the Combine. The Bears were in position to make this deal, and they had multiple suitors for the number 1 overall pick.
There was a lot of back and forth, and I wasn't involved in all the conversations, but certainly back and forth with Ryan and I, him informing me what's going on, and then when it worked out, it was awesome.
Grateful that it happened. Be able to be a Chicago Bear. I'm not too deep into the history of kind of what happened, but I do know it got us a bunch of different things, DJ and picks, and myself included.
I haven't really sat down and really looked at all the pieces we got. I mean, you can see it, but not to really go and think about it and dang, we really made an impact, but we really did. Shout out to Post for that. So, that was a good trade.
Do you ever take time to reflect on how your personal situation, how different it would be if you hadn't been involved in that trade?
No, I don't really live in what if. It happened. We're here now. Another contract later, and I'm grateful.
So your reaction was, this is great for Fields. Why wasn't it? What happened?
That's a good question. I'll not avoid it, but my friend Joey, fixed my fence. Shout out to him, and work together in radio again. He's a diehard Pittsburgh fan. And yesterday he looked at me, because on Sunday he's like, you know what? I like Fields. I'm with Fields now. I want him re-signed in Pittsburgh. Then on Tuesday he said, why the fuck can't he stop fumbling? I don't know what he did Sunday. I don't know how many times he fumbled or what have you, but according to that, based upon Joey watches the games, it sounds like he's still fumbling in Pittsburgh. That was one of the problems in Chicago, is he had untimely fumbles. Between that, and if you listen to reporting, that he didn't really like to be coached up, and I don't know if he had a guy to coach him up in Getsy to begin with. I mean, there's no one thing that's obvious to say the reason it didn't work, or unless am I wrong in that?
No, I think you're absolutely right. There were a number of things. It had a lot to do with Justin himself. It had to do with the play caller. It had to do, again, with an offensive line that wasn't helping him much. So there were a number of things. And, everybody was talking about Claypool now being number 2. I mean, I saw so many clips today of people praising Claypool at the time. Now he can be the number 2. He's going to be a great number 2 and so forth. No, what they didn't know is that he's an asshole. He is a dude that just cares about himself and doesn't care about working hard other than to look good. He works out to look good in his modeling clothes and not to play football. That's the word that I'm hearing about Chase Claypool. If all that is true, which apparently it is, because I don't know if he's on a roster right now. And I'm perturbed by it so much, because I had such high hopes for him coming out of Notre Dame, because I saw him play in Notre Dame. I thought he was good. I thought he could help a team out immediately by just being a special teams ace, which is what he did at Notre Dame besides catching passes. And he was just an utter failure. So fuck Chase Claypool.
I was just going to take you back to a bad moment in Bears history?
Please.
Carolina in the regular season has never beaten us at Soldier Field. I quantify that by saying in the regular season, because there was one game in the playoffs, if you recall, that our beloved Charles Peanut Tillman was roasted by Steve Smith. Steve Smith had like 225 yards receiving that day, no exaggeration.
Mm-hmm.
And they beat us 29-21, I think, in the 2005 playoffs.
Yeah. How sad was that? I mean, that season was the season that we beat them at
We kicked
Soldier
our
Field.
asses at Soldier Field. And don't forget, Carolina's coach that year was John Fox.
John Fox, yes. So we beat them at Soldier Field. We got a playoff game. I was in Vegas at the time. And so I didn't want to go to one of those fucking Vegas joints where I couldn't pay attention. So I watched it in my room. And, I'm near tears towards the end of the game. I get a call from my buddies. All right, we're going to meet down here, meet down there. Yeah, I'll see you down there. I never went down because I was just so disconsolate. I mean, it really does bother me on important games that the Bears lose. It really does bother me. I couldn't fucking socialize. I did go out to the strip bar, like 5-6 hours later. But I needed 5 or 6 hours to myself.
That Parky game, it ended at like 9 p.m. Eastern time, like 8 o'clock your time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, when he missed the double doink, I went to bed. I'm a nocturnal person. I stay up all night because of my job. I went to bed at 9 o'clock Eastern because I didn't want to hear anything else about that game, and I was so fucking down.
I'll never
I get it. When they lose something like that, like I don't want to. What am I going to talk about?
Yeah. Swanky is a strip club veteran, I guess. I had the same reaction. I remember going on the air immediately, and I was literally in tears. I was choked up, and Shane Marshall at the time sent me a message. I love you, bro, because he felt the pain. He felt, he had his own pain that he was going through, and he saw mine, and a lot of Bears fans are feeling the same way. It's just awful. I did a video for Buffon 55 this week where I'm praying for an 8-game winning streak. We have not had
05.
Exactly. I referenced that in the video.
We were 1-3, and Mike Brown said we suck when we lost that game to Cleveland. We were up 10-0 in the fourth quarter and let Trent Dilfer beat it. Well, let's not shit on Trent because he did win a Super Bowl with Baltimore. But nevertheless, a guy that wasn't, exactly Peyton Manning or Brett Favre at the time or whomever. So, you lose after having a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. They dropped to 1-3. Mike Brown says we fucking suck. We're paper champions, and they won 8 games in a row.
Mm.
Do you know the game they lost? The snapped that streak. It was on a snowy field, and Urlacher got run over.
Oh, against the Patriots. Jeez.
No, Pittsburgh with Bettis.
Oh, that's right.
We lost in Pittsburgh in a snowy game in late 05, which snapped that streak. Pittsburgh went on to win the Super Bowl that year.
Okay, I got one for you. During that 8-game winning streak, they beat 2 playoff-bound teams. You mentioned one already, the Carolina Panthers, who we lost in the playoffs. What was the other playoff-bound team that they lost, that they beat during that 8-game winning streak?
God, that's good. I know we beat the Ravens. Let's see. We lost to Cincinnati.
I'll give you a hint. The head coach can no longer work in the NFL. That's a pretty good hint.
What'd you say? That it cut out either mine or yours.
The head coach can no longer work in the NFL.
Wow.
I thought that would immediately trigger the correct answer.
I'm trying to think who we beat during that. I know we beat Baltimore. We beat San Francisco.
Come on, Chad. Help the guy out.
Wow.
No, you know.
Carolina. Oh, John Gruden?
Yeah, we lost to the Bucks. And it was on successive weeks that they played. They played the Panthers, and then the next week they played the Bucks, and both games ended with the Bears getting a sack on the quarterback.
Yeah, I guess Tampa did make the playoffs. Did they lose to Washington, maybe?
I think it was Washington. But, it was interesting as I'm watching all this tape from 2005 to do that video yesterday. It almost felt like this could be our 2005 season. When I mean I mean the present Bears. This could be our, season that sets the foundation for a Super Bowl appearance in 2025. You see any similarities?
The thing that comes to my head immediately about 05, and we ended up losing in the playoffs with Rex, but God, when it's that very cold game at Soldier Field against the Falcons on Sunday night, Mike Vick doesn't want to be there, and Kyle Orton is just so bad in the first half. He's like 2 of 14 for 8 yards, and they bring Rex in, who's been out since he broke his ankle in the preseason, and the first pass, a bullet down the middle of a seam route to Muhsin Muhammad for like fucking 25 yards, which exceeded Orton's last like 12 games combined. And then he goes to Green Bay on Christmas and wins up there to clinch the division. And like, oh, Rex is our quarterback.
Yeah, it was
and
good
then
times.
Jeff Blake played the Minnesota game to close out the year where they really didn't want to get anybody hurt. And then they lost the playoff game to Carolina. That's what I think about with 05 more than anything. And Thomas Jones running the ball just down people's throats. So in that aspect, maybe it's not a good comparison because Thomas Jones was running on 8-man fronts and was like, fuck you, stop me. You can't.
Yeah. You agree? Oh, do you remember this? Zach says in 2005, he vividly remembers Alex Brown talking after the Panthers win, saying, can anyone say we're good? It sounds like something Alex would say, that's for sure. He speaks his mind at all points. Swanky asks, Dan, are you talking about the Bears-Falcons game in 2005? I was there with my dad.
Oh, that's awesome. Yes, I was talking about that Sunday night game. Rex got a standing ovation when he came in, and then a standing ovation after he threw the pass to Muhammad. Everyone, everyone's like, oh, if Kyle would have played the Super. First off, again, Kyle was the third stringer. Everyone, this love for Kyle Orton, I've never understood. In 05, he was, I know he was a rookie and the Bears were winning, but it wasn't because of him. Come on, man. Kyle never did anything good here. And then when they traded for Cutler, they're like, oh, we should have kept Orton. Are you fucking mad? Don't forget we were in Houston with a chance to make the playoffs and Orton shit down his leg. That's why they traded for Cutler.
See, the thing is, because I was in that group of, I wasn't saying – I wasn't saying we should not acquire Jay Cutler, although I was not a fan of his moody bullshit in Denver. But I was encouraged that Orton was progressing, a fourth-round draft pick, obviously not ready to play when he had to play because of injuries and had to play for a long time, really took it like a man when they asked him and demanded that he managed the game and not try to, make mistakes and not try to put the ball in harm's way. He did that. He did it effectively and so forth. And as time went on, I saw him getting a little better and a little better and a little better. And he went on not to be a Super Bowl caliber quarterback, but hey, Jay Cutler didn't get us there either. And maybe those other draft picks we gave for Jay, I don't remember, who the Broncos acquired with those draft picks. But I always have hated giving away all that draft.
2 first-round picks, a third-round pick, and Kyle Orton for Cutler and Johnny Knox. Well, because we drafted Knox with the pick that they gave us. So I like the trade even to this day. They just the same thing that's going on with Caleb now is the same thing that affected Cutler. On paper, Caleb has better wide receivers than Jay ever had until later when they got a Brandon Marshall in town. But early on, again, both guys have no offensive line. That's the similarity. And they just, I don't know why Jerry Angelo thought it would be okay to have all these bums surrounding Cutler. He just thought, I guess Cutler would supersede that somehow.
Yeah. If Greg is ever able to get
but he hates Jay. He's never going to answer that truthfully.
Yeah.
If you ask him, like, will Jay if he had a better offensive line, would they have won? He's going to say no.
Jerry Angelo hates Jay?
No, Greg Gabriel.
Oh, Greg. Jay. But yeah, that's what I was going to say is, I would ask Jerry Angelo, what was your thinking about, the offensive line that you built for Jay Cutler? Because it seems from a lot of us fans that was a mistake, that you guys invested too much in the defense. It's like Olin Kreutz just recently said in a video, He goes, we had a great defense, a top 5 defense, and then we go into the offseason and we acquire Julius Peppers. And then during games, people are applauding the defense and then coming up to me and say, hey, what's wrong with the offensive line? And so the point that he's making is the fucking team has never invested in the offensive line.
Right.
Other than when they won the Super Bowl and in the early 80s, they acquired Van Horn and everybody else that made for a fantastic offensive line, Jimbo Covert, blah, blah, blah.
Well, that's been my point too. Before they drafted Darnell Wright in the first round, they had not drafted a offensive lineman in the top 10 picks of a draft since 1983.
Right.
And the Bears have been bad a lot. So they've had a lot of top 10 picks.
Yeah.
And they had not drafted an offensive lineman in the top 10 since 1983 before 2023. 40 years.
It's the least sexiest position in the entire football team. It's the offensive line. You'd rather have a sexy sack machine at pass rusher, a linebacker who hits harder than a man is capable of hitting, a quarterback with the golden arm, running backs who can break, on and on and on. An offensive lineman, big guy who can stay in front of the guy that's trying to get in the way of the quarterback.
It feels like to me every time the Bears draft a lineman or like high up, whether it's Kyle Long or Cody Whitehair or Tevin Jenkins, they always start fucking around with their positions. Oh, you're going to play guard, you're going to play tackle, you're going to play center. You need to draft somebody like right now. Darnell Wright is your right tackle. Leave him at right tackle. Go ahead and draft you a center and say, you're the center. You're not the swing tackle and the backup left guard. You're the fucking center. We want a center. We want a left tackle. Just quit moving people around. They always do. It doesn't matter who the GM is. They always mismanage the offensive line.
The issue that I have is that the reason they move these guys around is because none of them is very good at what they do. I take that back. I mean, Tevin Jenkins was an outstanding right guard, and then they moved him to left guard, and now he doesn't play as well.
And when they drafted him, he was a tackle who they thought would be left tackle.
Yes.
And then he's at right tackle. Then he's at right guard. Then he's at left guard. He's been everywhere but center, I think. So, I mean, God, you can't say that doesn't stunt some guy's growth when he never knows where he's playing. If I'm Tevin Jenkins, man, my story is the whole time I've been there, it feels like they didn't want me.
Mm-hmm.
You know how good it is to feel wanted, whether it's a woman that's like, yes, fuck me, or a friend that says, no, you're down today. Well, you're my friend and I care about you. Whatever it is, we all have a desire to feel wanted. Yeah, and the whole time Tevin's been here, it's like, he's like, I want to stay. They're like, well, we'll talk to you during the bye week. And, a couple of years ago, they're like, they were trying to trade him. Like the whole time he's been here, he's never been beloved.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably why he hasn't been playing that well, is that he feels like I'm not getting any love. They fucking had the nerve to tell me to wait till the bye week so we could talk about the contract. What does that mean?
Well, you're not going to talk about it now. I mean, clearly there's no way they're re-signing him.
No fucking way. No fucking way. Unless the only way it could happen is I would say to him, Tevin, we're not happy with the way you were playing. We promised you we were going to talk about the contract at the break. But we want to delay, and maybe it's even best for you to test free agency. But here's something that we are going to do for you. We know you love playing the right guard position next to Darnell Wright on the right tackle position. We're going to move you back there. And we have no intention, unless injuries happen, we have to move things around, but we have no intention of moving you out of that right guard position. This will give you an opportunity to play great and hopefully sign a great big contract with us or with some other team. That's how I would approach that, as opposed to not talking to him. And clearly the guy has been impacted by how he's been treated by the Bears organization.
I would wholeheartedly concur, but it doesn't seem like that's plausible. It feels like it's either going to be Pryor or Nate Davis at right guard.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Bates comes back, I mean, if Tevin's hurt, or maybe even if he's not hurt, they might put Bates at left guard.
Yeah, that I don't. Jesus, I don't see that happening. I think Pryor would probably go to left guard, but I don't know. So that's
you
the
think
one.
that they'll bench Nate again, right? And then put Pryor, or you
I
think they'll keep Nate in and put Pryor at left guard?
I think that nothing is decided yet. And so if Nate plays really good Sunday against the Panthers, then he's going to go a long way to regain and solidify himself as the right guard. But somebody, I think it was Danny Shimon yesterday, said maybe, he was speculating here, but this was an interesting theory. Maybe the death of Nate Davis's mother sapped the love of football away from him. Maybe there's still apathy. We've all lost someone special in our lives that sometimes you just don't feel like working, you're depressed and so forth. And maybe that's what's happened with Nate. And if that's the case, I apologize for saying that you suck, but you have sucked.
Yeah, I mean, again, I agree. That's horrible, and I don't want to discount that in life.
Sure.
But if you can't play, you can't be on I mean, I would love to be in a Bears uniform. I can't play.
Right.
That's why I'm not there. And if he can't play, he can't be there either.
Right. I mean, the only thing that would keep you from doing this show is what?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm not getting any pussy tonight. That's why I'm here.
I'm telling you, that's not me. Every time you play that, that's some kind of AI shit.
It's been sped up a little bit for some reason. I don't know why.
That is not me. I think the only context I could have said that in, if it really was me, is I was like, I've never been one of these dumbasses that go to a strip club and think they're going to take one of the strippers home.
Yeah.
Like I always say, I'm tapping out saying I'm not getting anything. Like, that's why I'm at the strip club.
Yeah. No, one of the reasons I used to go to the strip club a lot is because I was one of those idiots that believed that. $200 later, I started to rethink this whole thing. Like,
I viewed every woman there as like my adversary. I'm like, she's trying to hustle. Don't even say hi to me.
Yes.
Just show me your vagina and go on. I'll tip you, but don't talk to me. I know you're trying to steal from me. You're trying to steal from me. I know
it. Foster says, don't worry, Dan, I'll get some pussy for you.
That works.
He's taking over. He's taking over as the coxman of Bears Twitter and Bears
Hey, if
podcast.
I can be, I don't want to say as old as, because I'm not want to call Foster old. But if Foster is a little bit older than me and he's still got it going, dare I say he's 70? Is that fair?
Foster?
60?
Foster is 59, I believe.
Is he really 59? Now I feel like a dick. I was just saying, I was trying to give him credit for still being able to use his. I guess it's just the gray. I thought he was a little bit older than what he was. I apologize, Foster. You're a great guy, and I didn't mean to demean you. I promise.
I was just really shocked when he started telling me about these vaginal farts he was hearing from the woman that he was with.
Vaginal farts are wonderful things.
What, did it freak you out the first time you heard a vaginal fart?
No, I was just like, okay.
Oh, I freaked out. I was like, what is that? And then she didn't say anything, kept on doing her thing. And then afterwards, I asked about it. Did I fart? Well, no, that just came out of me. Tell me more. How's that work? And she starts explaining, getting mad at me.
The worst, and this did not involve me. This was not me. But the worst vagina story that I've ever heard was from my friend. God, we were doing some crazy shit at our college once, and he and my shitbag cousin were dressed in women's clothing. I was like, look, I'm not a good enough looking man to let alone even to try to be a good looking woman. But anyway, he was doing something with the female, and he came to me, he said, oh my God, I almost vomited. I'm like, what happened? He goes, I was going to go eat her pussy. He was like, I was going down, and I'm telling you, there was a piece of toilet paper stuck to her vagina that was like 6 inches long.
6 inches? Geez.
Yeah, just a huge piece of toilet paper that was just stuck on it, like where she wiped it and it didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, that gets worse. Like, I've had women start their periods while we were fucking around. Like, that is nowhere near as bad as toilet paper. being stuck. That would be that's the worst thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, I actually, that happened to me actually back in my, I don't know, 20s or something, but yeah.
That was fucking trippy.
Or a woman told me this. A woman told me this. Now, she could have been lying, but a woman like 2 years ago, just on a Facebook dating the app I went on a date with, and dirty shit came up, and no pun intended. She told me that one time she was getting fucked in the ass and she shit.
Oh.
And she said she had been with the guy a bunch to where like he was like semi cool with it. Like it wasn't like he was done with her, but she was mortified. And yeah, that would be the worst thing I'd ever heard. But again, I wasn't involved in that though. Sorry, Foster. I apologize, sir. I definitely apologize.
Yeah, Foster's a young bird. He's got, the white beard and his voice. He sounds a little like, trying to think of an old black and white movie star, like Walter Brennan. No, that's not right. But
I think he looks like Ben Davidson from the Super Bowl II Oakland Raiders.
He does. I bet you that if he were to shave the beard and wear a hat, he would look exactly like me.
Or do you think he'd look like a guy right now? He could look like Raleigh Fingers with that mustache.
Raleigh, yes. By the way, who just died? Oh, Pete Rose.
Yeah, Pete Rose.
You want to say a few words about Pete? Because I know he was special for you.
I mean, I not as much. I sent you that thing to Bob Red. My friend had said, like, again, Pete was player manager by the time I started watching baseball. So most of his player days had already experienced. But, the guy was a 17-time All-Star at 5 different positions. He won the batting title 3 times. He won the National League MVP. He won the World Series MVP. He won a championship with the Phillies as well, 3 overall. Had the most hits in the history of baseball. There's no way this guy shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, especially when, like, gambling is advertised in every inning of every game now.
Yeah, for sure. I heard Bob Costas the other day on ESPN's Get Up, and Bob
is a purist. He's always pure, right?
No, he said something. I stole the line, and I didn't acknowledge him, so I'm going to do it publicly now. He said he was the most flawed person who did receive the mercy that he deserved. I thought that was brilliant. That was brilliant. That really captures it. The guy fucking broke the rules. You make a vow that you're going to bet on baseball games while you're associated with the game. He broke the rules, and he bet on his own team, never to lose, but he bet on his own team. He shouldn't have done it, but it doesn't take away the fact that he is the all-time leader in so many stats, records that probably will never be broken, at least in our lifetime. And what he accomplished as a player, there is no evidence that he bet against the other team or for the other team or whatever. He was a pure baseball star, superstar, and he should be in the Hall. And
you never did watch the HBO stuff, did you?
No, not yet. It's on my queue.
If you watch it now, one of the first things he says on it is like, I don't want to die and then put me in after I die. I deserve to be in now.
Yeah.
And he probably will get in now that he's dead.
Do you think he may have agreed to do this special because he knew the end was near?
I can't say for that. I have no idea. No way of knowing.
So he didn't give you that impression during the show?
He looked old. But I mean, he was 83. I don't know when they started recording this or how long it goes back, but either way, he was probably in his 80s. So you have to think your time is limited when you're 80.
Right. Sure.
I told you this in text, and I think maybe you disagree with me, but I still think that not only should Pete be in, I think Barry Bonds should be in. I think Roger Clemens. I think both of them were the best players of their generation. Clemens as a pitcher, Bonds as an outfielder, hitter. I mean, Bonds won an MVP as a skinny little guy. He didn't have hardly any muscle. It's not like he suddenly like that. You remember Brady Anderson, who had 30 career homers, and all of a sudden he has 50 with the Orioles. Yeah, okay, I get that. But Mark McGwire had 49 homers as a rookie. Bonds as an MVP in 1990 before he put on any muscle. These guys were great anyway. Mm-hmm. Again, I'm using Brady Anderson as the outlier, the person who may have been on the juice and suddenly could hit. These guys always do their craft.
Yep.
Clemens was striking out 20 as a kid at like 19. You know, I think if anything, the steroids is helping him stay on the field. That's my opinion. You tell me Bonds couldn't have hit 70 home runs without the steroids? I absolutely disagree.
Well, that's why he took the steroids, because he was
because he was older. He's trying to stay healthy.
No, the word was, and I think if I remember correctly, I think he actually said this. I was tired of seeing all the acclaim Sosa and McGuire were getting, and I knew they were on the juice. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go on the juice and be better than them. And he did.
Well, there you go.
So
that's how hypocritical baseball is, because they saved their entire sport at the time by rallying around McGuire and Sosa. And everybody, hell, McGuire was, to be fair, McGuire was on a legal substance. What was it called? Androstenedione?
Yes.
At the time, it was legal, though. And everybody knew he was taking it, but it was legal and nobody cared. And everyone rallied around that home run, who's going to break the record. And it just saved the game after it had not recovered since losing the World Series in 94.
Yeah.
Since they couldn't get the labor thing worked out and their ratings were in the toilet. And that brought the game back. And for them to just throw those guys out like they're trash when they knew everything they were doing before, to me, is just hypocritical.
I agree. There's a lot of hypocrisy in that whole situation. But I have a problem seeing them go to Cooperstown and get all the accolades. You know, I would do like a lifetime bet, and so they would know, you know, as soon as you die, we're voting you guys in. But there's no fucking way we're hosting a party at Cooperstown for you, given the way you lied so often about taking the drugs.
Well, let's be fair. Then none of them were convicted of this either.
That is true.
They went after Clemens. They went after Bonds.
Sosa
pretended to not know English when he was asked about it, and then turned his skin white. I don't know what the fuck. Sammy looks
He was in disguise. He was in
Sammy
disguise.
looks crazy now. He's whiter than I am.
He has definitely gone.
Michael Jackson did. You know, Michael Jackson's like dream, his wet dream is to be a white woman, and that's what Sammy looks like now.
Foster Coverage just said press the like button, but don't take his word, take hers.
Okay, guys and girls, if you like what you see, give us a like, press the bell, and subscribe. Thank you, sweetie pies.
Too skinny for you, right, Dan?
No.
Let's find out if she's too skinny for Johnny Santucci, the man, the myth.
The man who smuggled Tory Taylor in from Australia.
That's right. Hey, unmute and then let us look. He's wearing his Iowa shirt.
Tooch was at a P. Diddy party.
Did you hear? Did you hear Dan say that you smuggled Tory Taylor in
to Iowa?
I love it. How are you, Tooch?
Doing good. How are you guys doing?
Doing all right. I've been battling allergies, and Dan is as happy as a married man can be.
Me too. I got the allergies going. I was in the chat room hanging out. I noticed there was someone in there with the Handle Bears fan. Like, no shit, dude.
You're in the right place.
Tell us who you are for real, buddy.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to say anything about that. There's been some people who have come on incognito names talking shit. And it's like, it's nice to talk shit when you're fucking using an alias, you know. Show your face. Put
Sometimes
your face
Lions
on.
Fans get in here too. It's awful.
Oh, that Don Burr guy. You know what? I like Don Burr though. He's good for the show. He gets people riled up.
He's starting to grow on me, sort of like a pimple or something.
No, but he was supposed to appear on Bears Country podcast a couple years ago, and then Detroit lost, and he refused to show up. So that makes you a pussy, right?
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. I like Don Burr, but he's a fucking pussy. I hate his guts. Tooch, do you have a Bear State of Affairs? And if you do, how would you set our expectations? Is this going to be an A+, an A, a B, or C?
Well, you know, they're after a loss, they're a lot easier to write and a lot funnier.
You're saying they're easy to write when they lose?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that because you're attacking people. Yeah, absolutely. It's fun to attack people.
No, it's fun when they win.
Targets.
It's fun when they win.
When they win, it's great. I mean, it's not as like funny, and all the Bears' foibles aren't. They're hidden for another week.
My whole week is better when they win.
Oh yeah.
Yep. But you could pick on the opposing team on your state of affairs.
There's a little of that. Yeah.
You could break the theme. It's Bears state of affairs, but you could talk about how Stafford always gets his fucking ass kicked by the Chicago Bears. Not always, but he suffered some bad times against the Chicago Bears defense.
That's that. I mean, I said last week is a classic letdown spot for the Rams.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you did. And Greg Gabriel says that he's not a fan of Matt Stafford when he came out of college, throughout his career at Detroit, saying if you smack him in the face, he backs down. And I'm surprised that he would say that, because there's that. Yeah, exactly. Because there's that famous NFL Films moment where he is like playing, what was it, bad shoulder or something? Yeah, bad shoulder, and he leads them to a victory. So
I don't think anybody questions his toughness. I mean, Matt, beside from Greg, but I mean, he's got grit, man. I mean, he still throws a fucking laser,
and he's a Super Bowl champion.
Yeah, he's got a ring.
Can't take that. Now, Jay Sanders says Goff over Stafford. What do you guys think about that?
Two different styles of player, really. I mean, Goff's more of a game manager. Stafford's the big arm.
He is.
The older Stafford gets, the more better he is at understanding the game. I mean, his team, he didn't have two of his best receivers. Against us, the offensive line was banged up. The secondary is banged up. I was really surprised at how well the Rams' two defensive line rookies played. As they gave the Bears' offensive line some fits, man. That's in Bears state of affairs.
That one guy's sacks were both negated.
Yeah,
he had 2 sacks, both of them taken away.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
I can't think of his name. Who cares what his name is?
Jared Verse.
He didn't get any sacks on Sunday. Shut out.
Oh, that's right. I remember.
He should have had 2, but he should have had 1.5, 2. He should have had 1.5 or 2, but a defensive penalties called those back.
Poor fucker.
Yeah.
This schedule does look favorable for the Bears right now to be at 5-2 in the bye week.
No, don't talk any shit about Washington. Now there are people in the media saying that they drafted the better quarterback.
Fuck them.
I sent you a thing earlier. Was it Shannon Sharp that said Caleb was a diva and Washington got the right guy?
Yeah. I did see that. Who was that sent that? Because say that again.
Shannon Sharp.
Shannon Sharp. Yeah, I was surprised that he said that. That must have been way back during the draft. I don't think he would say that today, but maybe he did. I want to actually try to find that so we could talk about that. But anybody that calls Caleb a diva now is just missing.
Not paying attention, yeah.
So anyway, I'm going to pay attention to the Bears' state of affairs done by our very own Johnny Santucci, and I'll roll the video in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You got to give him that huck too and spit on that thing. You get me?
Go get them, Tooch. Go get them.
All right, Bears State of Affairs 2024 NFL season, week 4. What's happening, Barflies? Well, the Bears played their 4th game of the season, 24-18 victory over the Los Angeles Rams at Soldier Field. And like I said, it was a classic letdown spot for the Rams. Yeah, after all, they had just come off a hard-fought upset victory over their arch rivals, the San Francisco 49ers. Plus, they had to fly across country and play what amounted to a 10 a.m. game for them. The Bears' victory over the Rams extended Matt Eberflus's home field win streak to 7 games.
I love it.
Yeah, me too. The longest current streak in the NFL. Incidentally, the NFL record for consecutive home victories belongs to the Don Shula-led Miami Dolphins with 27 consecutive home wins.
Wow.
Woo! Yeah, well, the Bears are only 20 home wins away from tying that record, Aldo. We're close. We're close. Yeah, but Bear fans, we weren't really allowed to enjoy this victory because news came out that Tom Brady was almost a Bear. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tom Terrific. He actually broke the news himself on the middle of his new gig as an NFL broadcast personality. The NFL's 7-time Super Bowl winning quarterback said he was close to signing with the Bears during the COVID season of 2020. The Bears fans remember Matt Nagy was the head coach and play caller in Chicago to start the 2020 season. Bill Lazor had been hired in the offseason to become the Bears' new offensive coordinator, and Chuck Pagano was in charge of the Bears' defense. Brady said the Bears were very stealthy in their recruitment of him. Yes, Bears fans could barely enjoy Sunday's victory over the Rams because we all stopped to wonder what could have been.
A Super Bowl.
Yeah. Instead of the Buccaneers winning a Super Bowl, could it maybe have been the Bears winning a Super Bowl with Tom Brady leading the way?
Oh, my God.
Woo! Yep. The offense in Chicago at that time consisted of wide receivers Allen Robinson and Darnell Mooney, running backs David Montgomery, Tyrique Cohen, and Cordero Patterson, who was an All-Pro that season, tight ends Jimmy Graham and rookie Cole Kmet. Defensively, the team was led by Khalil Mack, Roquan Smith, and Nakeem Hicks. And the Bears defense that year finished the season ranked 11th in the NFL, giving up only 23.1 points per game.
What the hell? Oh, my.
Instead, we went with Mitchell Trubisky and Nick Foles on our way to the scorching 8-8 record.
Oh, my goodness.
Sorry about that, Aldo. Following that 2020 season, the Bears would reset at the quarterback position, choosing Justin Fields with the 11th overall pick and signing Andy Dalton in free agency.
I'm crying.
That's right. The Bears will see the Red Rifle this Sunday at home when the Bears host the Carolina Panthers in their attempt at an 8th straight home victory for Matt Eberflus, after again resetting at the quarterback position this past offseason, right?
Yep.
For all of the heat, number 1 overall pick Caleb Williams is taken for his understandably shaky performances through his first NFL games. He now has the Bears sitting at 2-2 after the team was 0-4 at this time last year. That's right. Improvement, we'll take it. Yeah, there remains room for improvement from the 22-year-old, but he went without a turnover-worthy play for the first time in his young NFL career this past Sunday versus the Rams. In fact, Caleb Williams became the first rookie quarterback selected number 1 overall in the NFL draft to win each of his first 2 career home starts in the common draft era. And there has been notable improvement by Williams on a game-to-game basis. Yeah. Look at that passer rating going from week 1 to week 4. Yeah, notable improvement. In his first 3 games this season, Caleb completed just 44% of his passes versus the blitz. This Sunday, he was 8 of 9 for 75 yards and a touchdown versus the blitz. Yeah, look at that. Kid's progressing.
Yeah.
He's learning to beat the blitz. And against the Rams, Caleb was a game manager for the first time in his career, and it worked. And that's okay. Caleb made some beautiful passes. He made the plays when he had to, showing off his escapability in and out of the pocket. That's improvement.
Absolutely.
There was definite improvement from the offense. Shane Waldron called 28 runs to 23 passes as the Bears presented a more balanced attack after throwing for 52 passes last week against the Colts. Yeah, they found success in the run game, too. The offensive line played better, reminding us all the importance of a good offensive line in the development of a young quarterback. Yes, there's still plenty of issues with the offensive line, the latest being an injury to left guard Tevin Jenkins. As well, left tackle Braxton Jones really had his hands full, struggling with the Rams pass rusher Jared Verse. The Rams' talented rookie linebacker earned a 50% pass rush win rate versus the Bears, the highest mark in an NFL game this year. Verse was dominant, recorded 4 tackles, 1 quarterback hit, and 1 tackle for loss. Holding penalties by teammates Cameron Curl and Tre'Davious White prevented the rookie from earning 1.5 sacks, but he did have 4 of 5 pressures come in under 2.5 seconds, the quickest pressures in a game by a rookie this season. Verse and his fellow Florida State teammate, rookie Braden Fisk, gave the Bears' offensive line troubles all game, exposing the offensive line as the Bears' weak link. No surprise there. Well, let's take a little time and recognize the Bears players who shined in this latest victory. Jaquan Brisker had a game-clinching interception off Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford. Brisker was seemingly everywhere, had 12 tackles, 2 for a loss, and a sack on his way to being named NFC Defensive Player of the Week. Yeah, as well, Bears fans got to see the DeAndre Swift breakout game. But prior to playing the Rams defense, Swift was averaging under 2 yards per carry. But this game, Swift had 16 carries for 93 yards and a touchdown. He was also deadly in the passing game, where he had 7 catches for 72 yards. That's what Bears fans had been waiting to see from the Bears' biggest free agent signing. And the Bears were also aided by the leg of the punt god.
There he is.
There he is. Woohoo! The Bears rookie punter had his own breakout game. On Sunday, Tory Taylor had 5 punts for 277 yards.
Nice.
Yeah, with 3 inside the 20-yard line, including a fourth quarter backspin beauty that pinned the Rams inside their own 10-yard line late in the game. Yep, all in all, the Aussie punter was good for a 55.4-yard average. The Bears defensive end Montez Sweat also had a strip sack, and defensive tackle Gervon Dexter Sr. also had a sack. I don't think enough people are talking about the development of Gervon Dexter Sr. since he gave up honey buns. Yeah.
Return of the honey buns.
Return of the honey bun. He's already up to 3 sacks in his first 4 games and has one of the highest pass rush win percentages.
Yes.
Yeah. He's got one of the highest pass rush win percentages in the league for defensive tackles. In comparison, Jalen Carter, who the Bears passed over in last year's draft, has 0 sacks and only a few pressures. Bears fans remember that we swapped Roquan Smith for Tremaine Edmonds, TJ Edwards, and the pick that would later become Gervon Dexter. Now, all 3 have become key to the Bears' defensive resurgence. And this season, the Bears' defense has held opponents to under 21 points per game in each game and is much improved over this last season. For example, the Bears' defense last season through 4 games had 2 sacks, 2 interceptions, and allowed 137 points for a 34.25 points per game average.
Jesus.
Yep, that was horrible. This season, the Bears' defense had 10 sacks, 5 interceptions, and 75 points allowed for an 18.75 points per game average. The defense has saved the Bears bacon in both wins and has kept the Bears in every game this season. Next up, the Bears will face the number 3 highest graded quarterback, according to Pro Football Focus. Who's the number 3 highest graded quarterback? If you guessed Andy Dalton, you'd be correct. Well, if you guessed Andy Dalton, you were probably cheating anyways. This Sunday, the Bears welcome in Dalton and the Carolina Panthers for the Andy Dalton revenge game.
No.
Or is it the Ryan Poles trade raped us game? Yeah, in these next 6 weeks, Bears get the Panthers, the struggling Jaguars in London, a bye week, then road games against the Commanders and Cardinals before returning home for a game with the rebuilding Patriots. Make no mistake, this is the sweet spot on the schedule. And the Bears need to take advantage, and that's Bears State of Affairs.
Yeah. Yeah, baby.
Woo!
It's quite the orgasm you gave that lady.
I know. That was a good one.
Yeah, it was very good. I think you write good ones even when they win or lose or tie.
No, it's easier to write the loss game. You know, it's plenty more targets. You know, here we get it's more. This is like more of just celebrating the win. You know.
Yeah, I hear you.
But the big news that Tom Brady could have been a Bear gave me a little ammo.
Yeah, you know, why didn't that happen? It's like, what the fuck?
Nagy probably would have been relieved of play calling duties sooner than he liked. Maybe. I don't know.
Zach says it's not coincidence that guy was in the Super Bowl area of the year. The game is strategic and cerebral. Brady got his guys in a position to win often and executed. The guy was just good, man. Yeah. Now, the first couple of Super Bowls they won were not because of Tom Brady, right? Those were Super Bowls that were led by the defense, and then Brady got better. I mean, if you look at Brady's stats for that first Super Bowl, I don't even think he threw for 200 yards. If I remember,
he was MVP.
Of the first Super Bowl game
Super
that they
Bowl
won?
36. I'm fairly certain he was the MVP.
Maybe I'm remembering those wrong.
Possibly the smartest quarterback to ever play the game, as far as understanding the game.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, man, he should have been a Chicago Bear. What does anybody know what stopped the Bears from making that happen?
I thought he said it was like the weather and they had better wide receivers.
Oh, Tampa Bay. Yeah.
So he didn't want to come.
He got a house in Miami, I think.
Yeah,
So
he was closer to his son.
Closer to his home, yeah.
Okay. Making out with his son.
but man,
Yeah,
man,
Brady was MVP of 36 and 38, the first two. Then Deion Branch was 39.
Yeah. Okay. So the first one was what year? 2005?
February of 02, after 9/11. It was the first Super Bowl in February because of 9/11. They pushed everything back a week.
All right. Fuck.
Against the Rams.
Fuck it. Fuck Tom Brady. Fuck everybody.
There's been some, rumors though, like recent the Bears trading Keenan Allen to some, recently or next year, trading or signing Zach Martin as a free agent. Cowboys Pro Bowl guard.
Well, the Bears have to look at the fact that they've got Caleb. If they truly expect Caleb to be the next, top quarterback in the NFL, he's going to cost $50 million. So they've got to surround him with all the necessary weapons and win titles now so that once they pay him, guys will want to stay because they love winning, or guys will be attracted to the Bears because just like guys are attracted to the Chiefs nowadays. So
and they won in spite of Mahomes' contract.
Right. But man, do you think Tyreek Hill right now is feeling like shit? I should have taken whatever fucking KC was offering. Yeah. Because man, that was a terrible game Miami had. What was it, Monday night? Tyreek was open so often, and the quarterback couldn't hit him. Jesus God!
I mean, it's an amazing lack of foresight on the Dolphins' part to not plan for a Tua Tagovailoa injury.
Yeah,
guys, he's injured all the time. I mean, it's like,
well, maybe they like that guy. He did play in a postseason game for them a few years ago.
Really, that Skylar Thompson?
Skylar Thompson,
yeah, against Buffalo, and he did. Well, the team did okay. They were in it, but. I'm not going to say he was the reason they were in it, but yeah, he started a wild card game for them.
Yeah, and Tyreek did say, I think today, he said, he expects him, Thompson, to have a much better game Sunday because he's just getting into it and stuff. It's funny that Flus was asked about his slow start, and one of the reasons that he gave, he said, I haven't played since November. And so he was asked about it again today, and he said it really is a thing. When you don't play for a while, it takes a while to get acclimated, particularly like the hitting. My body was sore for a while after those first big NFL hits. So, and so people are going to, well, what about Jaden Daniels and so forth? The guy rarely fucking gets hit because of the offense that they run over there and the good offensive line. Now, he does run some, but he's good about sliding and stuff. So it's two different situations.
Yeah, his Jaden Daniels is the lowest average depth of target, his receivers have on average. So he's not throwing a lot of long passes. He's getting rid of the ball super quick.
Yeah.
Average depth of target of like 4.3 yards, I think. So the receivers aren't he's not asked to do a ton as far as read and get rid of the ball. It's a half field read offense.
Commanders.
Yeah, Commanders under Kingsbury.
What do you all think about Adams? Apparently, Devontae Adams wants to either get traded back to Green Bay or to the Jets with Rodgers.
Yeah, some people mentioned the Chiefs, then quickly like Las Vegas would never trade within the division,
But they shouldn't.
Yeah.
The only time I can even really think of that being a deal was when Washington acquired McNabb from the Eagles. When you trade within your division, a big name. That's the only time I can even think of one like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I the reason I can't see a trade happening with the Chiefs and Raiders is simply because what do the Chiefs have to give? Because they can't give an offensive lineman. They've got a good offensive line now, but they have no depth. Are they going to give Xavier Worthy away and multiple?
Are they going to give 2 first-round picks away for a guy that's 33?
Is he that old? Wow.
Something like that. He's got to be in his mid to early 30s.
Yeah.
They say Green Bay or the Jets were his landing spots.
Yeah, I see him going to the Jets.
But the Jets' problem is our problem, isn't there? It's not the receivers, it's their line, right?
Frankly, I think it's that offensive coordinator too, the guy that was with the Raiders and got booed out of town.
Is it Nathaniel Hackett?
That's him.
He's a bum.
He's like Aaron Rodgers is like his number one fan too. They've spent a lot on their offensive line too. The Jets. I mean, they recently they made a habit of or made a point of improving it with Rodgers after his injury last year. They have Tyrone Smith, the longtime Cowboys left tackle. They signed Morgan Moses too, the right tackle. They drafted Tippmann and Elijah Vera Tucker in recent years, and signed John Simpson, I think.
And they lost to Denver and only had like 9 points.
Yep. And Denver defense is underrated, though.
Yeah, I agree with that. What you guys think about, this whole thing with DJ Moore kind of making faces and looks like he's not totally happy with the rookie quarterback? Have you guys heard about that, first of all? You guys have?
Yes. Yep. I didn't know he was making faces. Or you just mean his body language, or someone saying he's making sarcastic faces?
He was, the Sun Times had a one-on-one with him after his press conference today, and he said, it's funny how these cameras always find me, always have a shot of me when I'm making a face, and it's just kind of normal. Sometimes you're just frustrated the play doesn't work, and so you're going to make a face, but immediately afterwards, Caleb is my guy. I think I got a soundbite of him talking about that during the press conference. Let's see if I can do it here.
We both was frustrated after that missed touchdown. He came over and we both talked about it, got on the same page right then and there. I mean, shouldn't be no more mishaps on like a ball like that going forward.
Yeah, it's that simple. And then he went on the touchdown. He was guarded by a linebacker, and so he joked about this a little bit. Listen to him.
First, you gotta know where you at in the read. So I probably was like second or third, but I knew it was going to have to get back to me because it was a linebacker. So I was like, if this thing don't get back this way, we might have some more discussions on the sideline. Because and it ended up getting back, so it was no discussion on the sideline. It was all happy vibes. Like most of the time, it is happy vibes. So I gave him the ball after that. So I was ecstatic for him.
That was a hell of a throw too.
Oof.
They had another one too to Komet over the middle.
Mm-hmm.
It was dropped
great
right
catch
in there.
too.
Yep, great catch, throw. Yep. Look, that one play before that they're talking about before the touchdown, it looked like DJ Moore slowed down coming out of his break, and that might be what Caleb Williams is pissed about because it was overthrown slightly. He looked like he wasn't going full speed out of his break. That's just what it looked like to me.
Oh, I thought he was maybe hurting, because that he did give up on it because apparently he is healthy. So he totally made the mistake there. He said, I took responsibility for it. We're all good.
And if you think about the other overthrow to Rome, there was PI that they didn't call on that one, or at the very least defensive holding.
Yep. One of the things that's interesting is a lot of people were asking for Caleb to check down. And this goes back to what Dan was saying early in the show, is that some people were critical. Well, everyone was asking him to use your check down more often and so forth. And this week he did. And a lot of people are criticizing him for failing to spot wide open receivers downfield and being too quick. And that's, to me, this should not be an issue as the season goes on. He's going to hit those wide open ones and forego the checks. We're just asking him to do a lot very early on. Tim Jenkins, the former NFL quarterback who now breaks down film on YouTube and was on The Score, and he talked about those checkdowns.
Last week we talked through this, and you guys were like, hey, kind of what would you do? And I was like, hey, I'd turn my back to the line of scrimmage, right? And I called more shot plays. Shoot, they did 5 of them. And I'm going to be honest with you, Caleb didn't see it well. So to me, it was like we had some open runners that it's like, shoot, man, if we let that thing go, it's a touchdown. Caleb checks it down. And I know a lot of people are celebrating that right now of like, oh, look, it's growth and him not trying to force the ball down the field. Not taking a shot that's open isn't growth. Just because we wanted him to check it down 2 weeks ago doesn't mean now any check down is a good play, right? That's not how this works. If we have an open runner on a shot play, we want to throw the shot.
Hey, what do you guys think? Dan,
I don't know who this guy is. And okay, Tooch, you told me, and I'm gonna go on a limb and believe you. You were an extra in Natural Born Killers, correct?
Yep.
That would be like you suddenly telling Jack Nicholson how to act because you were an extra in a film. Who is Tim Jenkins to suddenly tell Caleb Williams how to play football? Who is Tim Jenkins? I hate it when these scrub quarterbacks like Chris Sims or what's the guy that ran out of bounds? What the Dan Orlovsky suddenly are experts. Again, they're on par with you being the extra in Natural Born Killers. What do you think, Aldo? Is that a good comparison?
I love that. That was good. You know, there are a lot of guys now who apparently could not play the game really well, but have very definitive opinions about what a quarterback is doing wrong, what the play calling should be, and so forth and so on. It's a cottage industry with failed athletes, failed professional football players making money now doing podcasting and tape breakdowns and being on Patreon and being on local sports radio and blah, blah, blah. And yet those guys couldn't do it, but they're being critical now of the guys.
I said Nicholson, but maybe it'd be like, okay, let's make it current. All right, I'm John Santucci. I was on Natural Born Killers as an extra, and I'm going to tell Adam Driver why Megalopolis was a bust this weekend.
No, since it was on Natural Born Killers, Tooch would be going up to Robert Downey Jr. and say, hey, can you tone down the accent a little bit, you know?
I just meant how they suddenly become like they can tell today's generations how to play because this dude was in the NFL as a third stringer for a preseason 20 years ago. Like, who is that guy? Who is this Jenkins guy? I've never even heard of him.
He was a backup quarterback. I don't think he ever saw considerable time as a player in the NFL.
Yeah, he's breaking down films like JT O'Sullivan and stuff. JT is better, though, than Jenkins, I think.
Yeah, JT O'Sullivan. I remember him with the Saints. Oh, he played the same school as Brett Favre. Okay.
He was on the Bears for one season, too.
But.
Backup.
But. Should he be telling Caleb Williams how to play football?
You can easily just say that. To me, it sounds like a lot of second guessing. I should have done this, should have done that. There were some plays where Caleb looked at one guy, came back to the guy he really wanted to go to. Looked off that got everyone looked off the safety. He went through his progressions. It's 4 games. He's only played 4 games in the NFL. He wasn't. He was a shotgun quarterback at college.
Yeah,
rarely took snaps from under center.
That's the key. This whole thing about doing the play action. And so when you're doing play action coming off of the snap under center, you got your back to the defense. And so when you turn around, you're hoping that the defense
nobody's in your face.
Yeah, first of all, first and foremost. And then second, that the defensive alignment in the backfield is giving you what you want to hit an open guy. And so Tim Jenkins talked about that.
He made some play action too.
Play action. In fact, I think I have that. He was critical of Shane Waldron last week was Tim Jenkins. And this is what he said this week about him.
The fact that you saw the Bears get into 23 personnel, right? 2 backs, 3 tight ends, and pound it at the goal line under center, run just like traditional. Hey, we're going to pull somebody. We're going to run power. That was the most exciting thing. Cause that's like, hey man, you go from, we were 4 times running in the shotgun. We went 0 for 4 in capping it with speed option with our number 1 overall pick to we got into 23 and we, really ran it down their throat. And guess what? It was a touchdown on first down. To me, that is actual growth compared to what we've seen, Bears OCs do in the past. So I was excited to see that.
All right, so there he's praising Shane Waldron for making the necessary adjustments. This is, of course, after the team had a meeting with him and said, "What the fuck are you doing?"
We need to pound the ball sometime, bro.
Exactly. And I think all of this criticism towards Shane Waldron, much of it is warranted. Here is JT O'Sullivan talking about the constant mistake I have seen with the Bears under Shane Waldron and Luke Getsy, where they have guys out of place.
Yeah.
The guy that should be blocking is catching the ball. This is JT O'Sullivan on this tape review released yesterday.
We are 3x2 with a little stack down here to the bottom. Keelan Allen Moore. Okay, so what this screen is to me is right here, we're going to run a flat and we're going to MDM, most dangerous man, most dangerous man. All right, now again, this guy, I think he's looked better this year, running, like moving better. Doesn't mean he's looked so good that it's better than this guy or this guy. Get the hell out of here with this. It just can't happen, man. If this is an answer in empty, this needs to be 4 or 15 as the number 3. 85's got to be out here as the blocker. He has to. You cannot be throwing screens to 85 with 15 blocking and 4 blocking. You just can't. Here must be here. You can't fucking do it. It can't be an answer. It cannot be an answer. It can't be real life. So again, we're hot down here to the bottom. The idea to get something going like this, great. But if you're going to allow that to be in the toolbox, if you're going to allow that to be the answer versus pressure, you have to have the people in the right spots. It's just not, I don't care. You can't come at me with any sort of like bullshit excuse about how this happens. And this isn't like a 2-minute situation. This is early in the game.
What do you guys think about what he said there?
Totally agree.
I agree too.
The certitude that this guy has when, let's pull up his career stats. Again, you don't have to be a great player to be an analyst. I get it.
No.
But the arrogance that comes around with him telling everybody else what to do. If you know what to do, man, everyone would know who you are. There's only how many people in the bar room right now under a certain age know who JT O'Sullivan is?
Swanky doesn't know him.
I mean, his quarterback school is pretty popular, though. I mean, he's got like 200,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, how, if he was so great, he'd have done something himself.
Yeah, but, there have been lots of great coaches who were not good players. So, he can say that, I can break down film as well as any great coach. The fact that I was not a Super Bowl winning quarterback should not discount my analysis.
If you were the OC right now, and I said, Aldo, this guy named JT O'Sullivan was criticizing your screen pass to Cole Kmet, wouldn't you say, who is JT O'Sullivan?
I would say, well, I'm interested in hearing what he's got to say. Do you have something?
If you said Tom Brady said it, you'd be like, wow, okay. Tom Brady said it on Fox. It carries a little bit more weight. MC
Fact wants to know if you ever played football.
Yeah, yes, and I wasn't any good. And I don't claim to be a fucking expert on anything.
That's right. Dan is here because he couldn't get any sex tonight. No, Dan is here for entertaining us with his thoughts about the great game of football and his passion for the game of football. He's not here because he's a football analyst.
I've never said that I was smarter than anybody else or knew more than anybody. That's what I take umbrage with. There's somebody like JT O'Sullivan that acts like, boy, I know how to do everything. And whoever that other guy was, Tim, if you ask me, is Tim Jenkins a former quarterback or a former Bears backup defensive tackle? I'd say a Bears backup defensive tackle. Who the fuck is Tim Jenkins?
Yeah, I haven't watched any of Tim. I like JT O'Sullivan's breakdowns, though. I mean,
yeah, I think he does a good job. The one thing in that clip,
I wish he was our quarterback coach.
I don't know about that, but the one thing in that clip is that his solution to the problem, I don't think would have been much better. Yes, he would have moved in Swift into Cole Kmet's position and Cole Kmet into that middle position, but I think that would have telegraphed, they're going to throw a screen here and Cole Kmet is going to block. And so his re-scheming of that play, I don't think was a solution.
I agree with you. Yeah. I agree with you. And you have to look, sometimes the defensive players, they're paid too.
Mm-hmm.
So it looked like a good play in practice, but guess what? They stopped it because they're getting paid to stop it.
Right.
Everything's not going to be flawless, even if the great JT O'Sullivan says it is. That's why I am so, if he was so, never mind. I'm just.
Yeah, I mean, He's not always negative though, Dan. He does have some good.
Just the certitude that
positive
comes
stuff,
with these
though.
guys, like, I was 0 for 4 when I was in the league, and
You
I
can't
ran out
judge
of
him off of
bounds
one-
and
off of
caused a
one thing,
safety. I'm Dan Orlovsky, but now I'm telling Caleb Williams I know more about the game than he does. You didn't even know when you were out of bounds.
I mean, he's fairly effusive with praise when there is a great play. He's not just always negative. You can't judge him off of this one little snippet.
Well, that's fair. Most of the time, it's always somebody like that who thinks they know more than everybody, and it's like when you got your chance.
Phil Simms Chris Simms.
Yeah,
Chris
when you
Simms
had
is
your
good at
chance, you didn't excel. So
Yeah.
give this kid a break. He started 4 games.
Yeah.
So you didn't like the screen call. That doesn't mean
He
you
doesn't
know
like
more than
the
Caleb.
Waldron and Getsy play designs.
Well,
That's
that
more
doesn't
of a
mean you
thing.
know more than Shane Waldron either. It's maddening. It's a guy just trying to get himself over as an analyst.
George.
No, George.
Although I had to go change his diaper.
I'm sneezing like a bitch now.
Yeah, me
man.
too. I've been like sneezing a little too. It's allergy season, man.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Fall.
But I agree with you, Dan, but I don't agree with you. JT certainly comes off arrogant in that clip. But from what I have seen and what other people are saying in the chat, he's usually pretty level-handed.
Yeah.
This Jenkins guy, who actually agreed to come on this show, so I don't think he's going to come on anymore.
Good.
So fuck him. Yeah. But no, it is weird. He was saying, do more handoffs, do more of this, do more of that. And they do it, and then he's finding some fault with it. So the problem with all of these guys is that they don't know what's going on in practice. They don't get those evaluations of seeing people practice. So you're just coming with shit out of your ass, That's
What did I say
like
last
me.
week? I said the Bears are the best when they're running 2 tight end sets and smashing.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I thought about that a little bit more in between the time we had our last show and now. And I think the fact is that Aldo, you and I have talked for a long time about the evolution of the NFL to a more passing friendly league with rules.
Yes.
And now defenses have tried to adapt with hybrid coverage players in the defensive, whether it's hybrid linebackers or safeties, and they've gotten smaller. So teams are finding more success going larger and running over them. That's
right.
Why I said for a while I thought we should go 2 tight end personnel and smash the ball. Let play some max protect and 2-man routes and let Caleb, develop that way. Simplify the playbook.
Well, if we're going to put our opinions over, I will say last week I made the comparison. I was like, can we run a fucking I formation like Neil Anderson and Brad Muster were here?
With Doug Kramer as fullback. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Right.
But I'll never pretend to know more
fridge, the dorm fridge.
But I'll never pretend to know more than the fucking OC or the coach or anybody on the Bears. That's just my opinion. I wanted to see them run the ball. Did that make me hard? Of course it did. I was like, yeah. You got Doug Kramer in. You have Lewis
Doug Kramer, he flattened some guys, dude.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Did that excite me? Absolutely. But I don't know more than the Bears or anybody on the Bears.
One time, and then he comes back in, and oh shit, he's out there again. Let's go.
That's funny, Zach. He did lose his spleen in a game, but it makes it sound like you're calling him spineless because he's clean. I love it. It's a good play on words.
Zach is good. He should be a writer on our show.
Yep.
All right, I got a clip here. I want you guys to react, and then we could talk about some of the stuff that we've seen in the boob tube or in the movie theater. I know Dan's been very, very busy at the local movie theater, and I'm not talking about somebody jerking him off as he's watching.
Or did that happen? Maybe that did happen.
Oh, okay. Last Bears piece of stuff I got for you to react to is Caleb was talking about the checkdowns and how he's becoming better at it and so forth. There was a good 1.5 minute conversation on Caleb growing from the quarterback that was at USC, who would never fucking check down because he wanted to wear the cape and stuff, to now an NFL quarterback who is checking down. Although according to this Jenkins guy, he's checking down too often. But here's Caleb.
Yeah, I think that was when I was in college. I think that was a knock on my game. I think everybody wanted to say that I don't take checkdowns and things like that. But you also have to adapt to the team. You also have to adapt to the situation. It's always a growing and learning process. And I think I've done, I would say a pretty solid job of finding the checkdowns and understanding that game is so huge for us in our offense and, keeping us on the football field. So, with me doing that and all of that, I think it's been important for us. I think it's something that I've gotten better with, obviously. And also I know that, when you can steal first downs, which is what checkdowns do, it helps out tremendously, in the long run of the game.
Obviously, you don't want to be only that.
Yes.
There's levels above that. But do you view that as a key step in building your foundation as a quarterback?
Definitely a key step. To be able to, play for a long time, not holding the ball, taking those sacks, finding your checkdowns, getting the ball at your hands, and letting the guys that you have, go make plays. It's what, I'm here to do, obviously make plays, but it's obviously, we have 10 other guys on the field to be out there, with me and make plays. And so being able to get the ball in their hands with space, it's a lot of times what teams do with checkdowns. They give that guy space, and so give him the ball, the right shoulder, so he can turn, get upfield, split two, get the first down, get as close as you can to possibly even go for it and put yourself in better advantageous positions.
Kid is growing up right before our eyes. And those who are critical that he didn't spot the open man downfield, one fucking step at a time. God damn it.
Yeah, he will.
Anyways, Tooch, did you know that Dan Aguirre went to see Megalopolis?
I know, he was texting me from the movie theaters. Like, I'm on my second movie. I'm on my third movie. I was like, I was jealous, man. I want to do that, but I got I can't always do it with the kids. I'd have to leave them with like friends or family or something for the whole day. But,
take them into the movie. Well, let them watch Megalopolis. It's only rated RRR. Dan, anybody get fucked really, really good on
Megalopolis? How was the movies? Is it movie talk time?
Yes, it is.
Well, I started with The Substance, which had Demi Moore in it and Dennis Quaid and the girl that played she's Andy McDowell's daughter. She was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. She was the girl in the car with Brad Pitt. She was like, "You want me to suck your dick while you're driving?"
Yeah, the hippie.
Yeah. She's the lead girl under Demi Moore in The Substance. But the idea of The Substance was, Demi Moore's character is getting older, and it's just showing how society, the show she works on, they want somebody younger, somebody that looks younger, that can relate to the younger audience. Everything's younger. So she's desperate and takes this like mysterious substance that's supposed to make you younger. Well, it splits off of her body into a second body, which is the girl that is Andy McDowell's daughter. So you got a week at a time in one body. But you can't go over. The other person can't be selfish. Like if Andy McDowell's character stays an hour longer than she's supposed to, it makes Demi's body look older, even older, exacerbates. They have to be equal and not selfish. Well, suffice to say that doesn't go very well. And if you like any of those movies that are called like body horror, this was a great fucking movie. It's not for the whole family. It's definitely a horror film, rated R for sure. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. It was probably my favorite film of the day. I don't want to give any spoilers beyond what I've already said.
That was the first one, right?
Yes, I saw.
So it's downhill from there, though.
No.
Okay.
The second one was
hold on. Before you get to the second one, I want to ask you about with Megalopolis.
Well, that's where I was going. That's the second film.
Oh, I'm sorry. So you were talking about what movie? The Demi Moore one?
The Substance.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. I totally spaced out. My bad.
The Substance is really, really fucking awesome. Like I gave it 4 stars.
Now I'm tracking. Okay. Tell us about Megalopolis.
Megalopolis. I might have pissed off some people in the film. I don't know for sure. But I was in the very last row, and we're in a really good theater. So it's like the seat is actually like a couch, like you can completely lay down.
Nice.
And at one point, I happened to get hard for no reason. And she had a Bears hoodie on because she's a great wife. And she took the hoodie off and put it around my waist and started to blow me.
Oh, nice.
And
So you got a blowjob during Megapolis.
Yeah, and then like 5 people in the row in front of me left. I was like, you think they know that you were blowing me? Like, I don't know how they could have. I mean, if she was covered, she was quiet, but like 5 people all left at the same time in the row right in front of us. I don't know if that was
during
connected.
the movie or after?
Yeah, during the movie. I felt very, very, it was like an hour and a half into the film and they just got up and left. I was like, do they know you're sucking I don't know, but I told her that we both agreed, I think, to just quit. You know, I was like, let's just watch the movie. But I like the movie again. I was so disappointed to see that it's a box office bomb, as they would say.
That's Coppola.
Yeah, and this is a small spoiler, but it's not going to ruin the film for you. The only thing I wish I could change is Adam Driver's character can stop time. You know, make everybody else freeze kind of thing. But it doesn't explain how he can do that. That part kind of like, well, how did he acquire said talent?
Mm-hmm.
I wish they would have like gone in depth on that. But yes, I like the film. Good cast. I love Aubrey Plaza and Adam Driver, obviously. Even Dustin Hoffman was in it briefly, but yeah, I liked it.
Damn.
I thought it was a really good movie.
He's
I don't want to give any spoilers.
Old Hoffman, no? Dustin Hoffman?
Say it again.
He's got to be close to 80.
Yeah, he's up there. I mean, it's All the President's Men, 40 plus years ago.
Yeah.
And he's probably in his 30s then.
So according to Rotten Tomatoes, I'm trying to find the fucking reviews, but there's about like half the critics like it a lot and half the critics don't. So do you see it being kind of that divisive type of film?
Evidently, if that's what people are saying. I could see some people complaining about the length of the film because some people don't have attention spans. Younger people generally don't like long movies. They want to be on TikTok or beating off to bestiality porn or whatever they're doing. But I like long movies. I thought it was good. That's all I can say about it. And then I moved on to Beetlejuice Part 2. That was the third film we saw.
So before you say anything about Beetlejuice, here's what some of the critics are saying.
Please do.
Now, not only Coppola's worst film, but one of the worst films I've ever seen. Bloated, indulgent, pretentious, and unbelievably dull. Should that guy be shot?
No, we can have opposing viewpoints on a film and not be mad at each other. I just disagree. I liked it and Nikki liked it as well.
Okay. Well, tell us about Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice I just saw because when I was 8 years old, I loved Part 1 as a kid.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it in 30 years. I mean, I may hate it now, but as a kid, I did like it. Again, I was 8 years old in 1988. So, but I went to it with kind of low expectations because everyone I had told me about it said it sucked. But once again, both of us enjoyed it.
Oh, cool.
I mean, again, I didn't go into the movie thinking I was watching Godfather 2. But if you just sat there and just watched it, I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. I liked all 3 films. Probably The Substance was my favorite of the 3, though, honestly. That's how much I like The Substance. You should look that up, Aldo, with Demi Moore.
I will definitely do that. But I got to tell you, I'm a little disappointed that Megapolis is not your favorite film, given that you were getting a blowjob on watching. I mean,
if we given, some people give you 5 stars, or you're a 4-star guy, right? Is the rating?
Yes.
All right, so I will give the Substance 4 stars. I'll give Megalopolis 3, Beetlejuice 2.5.
And the blowjob?
Oh, the blowjob. Well, I mean, the blowjob could have been better, but she was trying to be very no. She was trying to be quiet and wasn't really making any noise at all. She was very incognito. I think it was a down low kind of blowjob. But then again, like I said, like 5 people left, so who knows? I kept thinking, I was like, is that woman kind of looking back at us? I did think that at one point. But I was like, even if she did, what did she see? She saw a Bears hoodie, and then, I mean, maybe she thought, where's that girl's head at? I don't know, but she didn't see the dick going in her mouth. There's no way she saw that.
were you cognizant of the sound that was being made? You know,
Oh
because
yeah,
if it was
it was low. She wasn't making any of the. No, there's
nothing like that.
No noises, moaning, or she did it very discreetly.
Oh, discreetly is no fun. Think of the show next time. Wouldn't it be weird if somebody released like closed circuit cameras like they did for that congresswoman? And there's Dad and his wife under the hoodie. Oh no. I'd pay for that.
You did watch Men, right? The horror film from like 2022.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, I got blown during the theater on that one.
Really?
I wasn't back with my wife yet, but yeah, I got finished off on Men, which is a weird movie to get blown on if you've seen it.
Yeah, that was a weird movie.
I haven't gotten a blowjob since fucking Wizard of Oz. Foster says that's why I missed the drive-in, Dan. It wasn't just a blowjob that he'd get there. He'd get everything.
There's still drive-ins around and across the country somewhere in America.
Oh, sure. There aren't any that you know of in Iowa?
Not that I know of, but it would seem like it would be a good spot, out here in the cornfields and stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Jeez. All right, Tooch, tell us what you might have seen that you are in love with.
I've been watching that Penguin on HBO Sunday nights.
Really? How is that?
Yeah, it's great.
It's 2 episodes down, right? It's got a very film noir kind of look.
Yeah.
A lot of long shadows and seedy characters and stuff.
Yeah, Colin Farrell, he's awesome in it, man. It's great. It's I know it's not comic booky, so it's like, okay, they took the comic book character and they turned it into like The Sopranos,
right?
Or something. So it's enjoyable. It's just a mob movie, and it happens to take place in Gotham City, and there's talk of like Riddler and the Hangman and stuff, but you never really see him. You're just following, Oswald Cobblepot, the real name of Penguin and stuff.
Right.
His playing both sides of 2 warring mafia crime families.
Okay.
So it's pretty good so far, man. Really excellent. Very well done. It's for HBO, And then I saw a movie I thought you and Dan would like. We always talk about how there's like it's a lack of original story ideas in Hollywood these days, and you're getting either like prolonged episode of like a Twilight Zone turned into a movie like you get with M. Night Shyamalan or something, And saw this movie called What You Wish For, it's like careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
And it's pretty good, man. I thought it's like if you like movies like The Menu, with Ray Fiennes and Anna Taylor-Joy, is that her name? Did you see The Menu, you guys?
Oh, loved it.
Yeah. So, and then forget the other, The Bears, one of them. There's another one, I forget the name of the movie with where Bradley Cooper was a talented but troubled chef. I can't remember the name of. But
yeah, never saw that one, but I know what movie you're talking about.
Yeah, and those kind of like chef movies and stuff. So it's about this guy. He's got gambling debts and loan sharks after him or whatever, bookies after him. He goes down to Colombia and visiting his roommate from culinary school. And this guy's got the life, man. He's like, yeah, I fly out here like 10 days early and I prepare for one night of a dinner and they pay me $300,000. He's like, damn, he's like really into it. And, he cooks for super wealthy clients. One amazing dinner in just paradise. The house is beautiful. It's like, infinity pool looking on a mountain, just gorgeous. And, they go out for he arrives, they go out and party, they meet this girl, Australian girl, and they party and they both cook for her, it's like a competition stuff. Then the next morning wakes up and his friend has hung himself. So he assumes his identity.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't want to say anything more because they'll give away, all the twists from then on. There's like a bunch of nice twists and stuff. So it's a B movie, but I thought it was really well done, man. The stars Nick Stahl. There's a few other, not as famous actors that you would recognize. One guy from a TV show. I forget the name of the TV show.
I'm looking at the cast. Oh, I thought I was
Yeah.
looking at the cast. Yeah, it doesn't sound like anybody.
There's one dude. He's on a TV show. He's like a Hispanic last name. What's his name?
Randy Vasquez.
Randy Vasquez, who's from Will and Grace and Bosch. He's on those TV shows. He plays a detective who's kind of investigating around the scene of this dinner party.
Well, I
Hulu, by the way.
On Hulu. All right, I'll look for that.
Yep.
I started watching the Menendez brothers and finished it today. Dan, I know you've watched a couple episodes. Yeah, it's a 9-part series.
I'm 2 episodes in. I've watched 2. We're gonna watch some tonight.
What do you think of it so far?
Yeah, what do you think?
It's challenging my memory of the crime. I always thought at the time that the boys, I was like, I expected them to get more sympathy because I thought it was like they had just been molested relentlessly and then they killed their parents. But that was just my memory of it. I haven't really dove into it since then. But if you watch the show, it seems to imply that I don't know if they were molested or not at this point. It's 2 episodes in. So it seems like they were just opportunists in spite of if they were molested. They're just doing this shit for the money. So it really makes them look more like scumbags than I had remembered. I thought that they were somewhat victims, like molested by their father. So again, I had a more favorable viewpoint. The show makes them into complete and utter assholes. So, but again, I'm only 2 episodes in though.
Yeah. Well, and the show has been criticized. Eric Menendez, the day it was started streaming on Netflix, sent out a message. And I guess I don't know how he could have seen it, but I guess from what he heard, he said it was a disgrace what the filmmaker did with the topic, and that there was all these inaccuracies and so forth. And they're in jail and trying. They've been refused a retrial, an appeal. And so, but they're still working on it, according to people. And there are journalists who say, yeah, there's some stuff in there that's just totally made up. And I believe recalling before the very first episode that it says it's loosely based or inspired by the events. So it doesn't make any claim that it's real, but it takes the general premise that the boys themselves submitted to courts, proclaimed that their father was sexually abusing them since they were children, and that their mom was engaged in some abuse too, and was also aware that the father was sexually abusing them and did nothing. And it goes on. I think the part that the Menendez brothers themselves might be worried about is that there are scenes where the brothers are like, yeah, there's something going on here. I mean, they're taking a shower together and getting all lathered up, and the mom walks in on them and stuff. And so there's a heavy implication that there was incest involved with the brothers as well. And part of that has to do with the father, when he first started having sex with Lyle, the older brother, who was 6 years older than Eric. He would put stuff up Lyle's ass, like a toothbrush and shit like that. And so Lyle started doing it to his younger brother. And so it's a really, really fucked up family. But it's tawdry, yellow journalism. It's the type of stuff you see an accent, you slow it down and take a look. It gives you that feel. The acting on it is fantastic. It's shot well. It's entertaining, but don't think of it as a documentary by any means.
Well, that's disappointing because they seem to like go out of their way to try to make the Dahmer one as accurate as possible last season.
Yeah,
this one they were great with that one. So yeah, that's somewhat disappointing. I hope to finish it. And I remember seeing a few years ago in reality, they got reunited at the same jail where they hadn't seen each other since like 93 or something.
Right.
And that they were at the same facility now. This was like probably 5-6 years ago.
Yes.
So,
I think that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always had this battle when you're a filmmaker. Should you be loyal to the true facts of it, or because you're making a movie for profit and it's your creative vision? Are you given? Should you have carte blanche to take the story where it goes, as long as you don't lie to people and say this is an accurate story? What do you guys think about that?
I can appreciate composite characters and stuff if you're just trying to condense time, or maybe a fictitious like girlfriend or something to that effect. But if you're changing, it would be like a football game. This is what I said when we were talking about the Lakers show on HBO. You can't give us like a fake score for a game that already happened. Or like if the Lakers, like if Bird and Magic's first game was in LA, you can't present it as being in Boston in the show, or vice versa, So I think if there's things that are easily checkable, then you have to go with reality. But if you're just trying to condense things for time and you create a character, then, or change somebody's name, I'm okay with that. But the overall authenticity needs to still be there.
Yeah. See, I don't quite agree with that. As long as you say inspired by true events, I think you could do whatever you want. One of the things that the Menendez brothers does, and this is a little bit of a spoiler, Dan, but you already know how it ends. They're in jail. Is that the second time they went to trial, they were tried separately. On the TV show, they're tried again together, and that
bothers me. I don't like that.
Yeah, so you may not like this last episode. I actually found it a little disappointing too, but for other reasons.
I'm going to finish it nevertheless.
Yeah, I think you should. Yeah.
And I watched the Vince McMahon one. It's a 6-part on Netflix.
I didn't realize it was a 6-part. I was going to start watching it, and I said, 6-part. I better wait for the weekend and stuff. How is that?
Well, the people that are really close to Vince think it's a hit piece, but I didn't get that at all. In fact, I thought the stuff about him shitting on the assistant while she's blowing his buddies and stuff probably didn't get covered enough.
For Dad's taste.
No, not just because it's the shit, because it's the allegations
that
were made. They kind of like just run past them pretty quickly, I think, in the last episode. It's still entertaining for me because I grew up watching the WWF, but like the last episode is where all this stuff like the Benoit murder and all these allegations come up for the most part.
Yeah, I was never a big wrestling fan, but the character of Vince McMahon is totally fascinating. From that time that it looked like he was really going to beat the shit out of Bob Costas.
Yeah, that's on there. That's definitely on there. And he did that to what's his name, Armin Katayan too.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Smacked papers out of his hands and started mocking him, making faces. What are you going to do? You're going to cry and shit like that.
I saw that. So he's just built this incredible empire, and then there's all these allegations of steroid use and not watching after the fighters, and the fighters being angry at him. So he was a figure to watch, even though I didn't watch wrestling. So that's why I'm interested in the documentary. What about you, Tooch? You gonna watch it?
The Vince McMahon or Menendez?
Either one, both.
So Menendez sounds like a bad trip. It's like might be depressing for me. Sounds depressing.
It is. It is a bit. It's entertaining though, but it's not like a super downer. But it's not the type of thing that you would say, "Okay, girls, let's watch them and end this."
Yeah, it's hard to invest a lot of time in series during football season, though.
Exactly. And this is 9 episodes.
NFL and the college football and tough. We're doing a lot of content production here. Producing a lot of content on Bardem.
Absolutely, yeah. It's tough. There's no doubt about it. Well, you watched the McMahon one. Are you interested in that story?
Probably not. I mean, there's no time.
Yeah, I hear you. And if it's something you can't enjoy with the family, it makes it even harder, right?
Yeah. The wife and I. Yep.
All right. What else is going on that you guys would like to chat about? Tooch, what do you got?
Oh, I had to buy a new car over the weekend.
What?
Someone hit my car,
Yeah.
It's like they're not going to fix it, so they're totaling it out. So I hate, but it wasn't a terrible the best place in Iowa is to go up to Cedar Falls. They have like 1 million used cars up there.
Good prices.
Dealerships. So, yeah, it was great. We got a 2021 Ford Escape hybrid.
Nice.
You know, so 16,000, good price for 2021.
Nice.
Decent financing, and yeah, it's nice. The wife is driving it. I have her old car, so yeah. She
Very
gets
cool.
the new car. I get the old car.
Yeah, you got to do that for the
Well,
wife,
it is.
right?
Yeah, yep.
Danny, you had some hurricane damage, right?
Yeah, here it manifested in the form of a tornado. Despite us, you think of West Virginia being the mountains, you know?
Yeah.
But it was a spinoff of the hurricane that hit the southeastern part of the country. So as a result, a lot of people here had flooding, trees just down everywhere. You can imagine how awful working at 911 was during that stretch. But a lot of electricity outages for almost what the storm started like Thursday night here. Some people didn't get power till today. Thankfully, I'm on the same grid as the fire department, so I've had power the whole time. But my privacy fence got hit, and torn down, but it's been rectified. It's fixed. So that's the only thing that happened to me. But there are other people that had it way worse than myself. I mean, even other people I work with at the radio station, 3 of them had significant damage to their yards.
Oh, wow. Jeez.
You know, I'm doing a West Virginia travel guide coming up. I just finished a Kansas travel guide, so I'm doing that for work. And man, there's some beautiful spots in West Virginia. I forget some. There's like a giant bridge, iron bridge that goes across, you know, a gorge. I forget the name of it.
Yeah,
And,
they do a jump thing there every year. Like they had a tragedy in like '86 when somebody plummeted to their death, but they call it Bridge Day, where people jump off of this bridge. Like I have
like
no
bungee jump, right? Bungee.
Yeah. And white water rafting, I have no interest in that, or 4-wheelers have no interest in that. But
yeah,
so many poor bastards come here to ride 4-wheelers, which just I don't understand, and get like every Saturday in the summer when it's warm, like, a guy from North Carolina, he has a compound fracture, huh? Okay. Well, that's what happens when you go ride trails for no reason, you know, in a place you've never been. I just don't understand it. I shouldn't have been born here. I should have been born in Illinois.
Yeah, you definitely strike me as a Pekin, Illinois native.
I am not a hunter. I've never gone hunting. I've never gone camping. I've never gone fishing. I don't ride 4-wheelers. I'm not a Republican. I'm not supposed to be in this state, is what I'm saying.
There's some we got a feature on Huntington, West Virginia, and Harper's Ferry.
I know Huntington well.
Harper's Ferry, a little section on too. I forget some of the other places.
Don't know Harper's Ferry well. I know Huntington well, though. Been to a lot of concerts in Huntington.
Almost heaven is the slogan.
There are a lot of gay people in Huntington's Ferry.
Harper's Ferry.
Yeah, Huntington's like where Marshall University is. That's
where
really? That's where Randy went to college.
The Thundering Herd.
Yeah, and you know that movie We Are Marshall, where everybody dies or whatever. I never watched that, but yeah, I know the story.
Is this Randy?
That's Sylvester.
Sylvester.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry. I thought that was Randy.
That was us a year ago yesterday, October 1st, 2023, when the Broncos came back from a 28-7 deficit and beat our Chicago Bears.
Is anybody going to the London game? I know Barrelissimo's going.
I did go to the Mothman Festival last year, Zach. Yes. I used to fuck a girl up in that town. It's called Point Pleasant.
Did she turn into a caterpillar?
No, she did not. What was your question after that? I'm sorry, I interrupted somebody.
Is anyone going to London game besides
I'm too poor.
Barrelissimo's going, but
he lives over there.
Yeah.
Chris Watts is going, right? But he lives over there.
I don't think he's going. We can ask him. He is going to be on our show the week afterwards, but I think I heard on the Barfly Tailgate show that he wasn't going, but that he was coming to Chicago.
Yeah, he's coming for that Thursday night Seattle game after Christmas.
All right. But yeah, I don't know for sure if he's going to London.
Steve and me will be there.
Look at you, Steve. You fucking bragger.
I was reading that, good Lord, the Bears are hosting like a bunch of like events at a pub in London on Victoria Street. I forget the name of the pub.
I really wanted to go to that game. My wife was showing interest in it, and then all of a sudden it just all fell apart. So
Greenwood Sports Pub, 170 Victoria Street in London. They'll have Staley, the Bear, performances from the Chicago Bears drum line, exclusive giveaways, and a live DJ.
yeah, see, all of that you described there is
Paul Edinger will be there.
That's another reason. The only reason I would go is to shake Paul Edinger's hand, I do it like this.
Man, there's a lot of Bears. There's a lot of former Bears there. So Paul Edinger, Zach Miller, Charles Peanut Tillman, Anthony Spice Adams, and Neil Anderson.
Love Neil. I don't like Spice Adams. I don't think he's funny at all.
There's a lot of reasons why I wouldn't want to go to that. I don't want the fucking DJ music. I don't want Staley the Bear. I don't want prizes and shit.
You want to see Peanut Tillman?
I want Peanut Tillman, yes.
I would love to see Neil Anderson and Paul Edinger and Peanut. I don't care about Spice Adams.
I want to sit down in a quiet place and talk to Peanut Tillman and former Bears players. I don't want, hey, yeah, I really liked it when you did this. No, I don't want to be in that environment.
Neil Anderson had had one of the toughest running back jobs ever, replacing Walter Payton.
How about that?
I didn't like Walter.
Yeah.
Really? Tell me more.
Neil just felt like at the end that by his rookie year in '86, and they were playing him on special teams, and then in '87 he was fullback. He thought at that point he was better than Walter,
and he was.
And that he was being held back, and he said, "I didn't come here just to kiss Walter Payton's ass."
I forgot they played him at fullback.
Yeah, so
it's so Bears putting guys out of position.
Well, Ditka didn't want to bench Walter,
I know.
And it was Walter's last year, and I commend him for it. He didn't want to take a legend out and say you can't play anymore. In fact, Neil, if you look back, got hurt really late in the season and had to miss that playoff game against Washington. So that was a big loss in Walter's last game that they didn't have Neil.
Yeah,
but he just at the time was like, I wasn't brought here to kiss the ring kind of thing, So maybe I don't think he would admit all this now because Walter died, and but at the time he didn't like Walter very much.
Man, I sensed that too in watching the games, that there was not a lot of love there. But I'll tell you one thing: that rookie season, Neil Anderson made so many outstanding special teams plays.
I know. I was just about to say he was a demon on special teams.
He was, man. He was good. And
he was the exact opposite of Walter. If you go back again and watch games and stuff, like he would, Walter would tell you that I'm working out the entire off season. Like there's never a day he's not working out. Neil will be like, "Oh, I haven't run since last season." Yeah. And then when the season starts, it's like by week 5, he's pulled his hamstring. It's because he didn't work out for 8 months.
Exactly.
He was always hurt. I loved him. I did, but he was hurt a lot, and it was always a pulled hamstring or something. And if he had Walter's work ethic, he could have been a great player.
Exactly.
Remember when Harbaugh came to the Bears first? He played special teams because he was bored. He was like,
"Oh, that's right."
Remember? He was like,
Joe Theismann
I don't
did
want to
that
just sit
as
here.
well.
It's like he was running down the field making tackles. Harbaugh.
Wow.
Joe Theismann was
He's a
returning
different breed,
punts
man, I'll tell
because
you.
he couldn't get on the field with the Redskins at first.
I remember that. Sure.
Yeah, but he's a little nuts, Harbaugh. Huh?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, but you know what? I'm starting to like him a little bit more now. He's going to have a tough rookie season with the Chargers because the team isn't, built the way he wants it to. But he's made some inroads. They'll probably have a winning season this year, and then they'll be competing for a Super Bowl in 2 or 3 years.
They're 2-2, and
I don't know about that, man. As long as Mahomes is there, the referees are going to help Kansas City. Even you admitted it, that PI against Cincinnati.
Yeah, that was a fucking. Did you see that game, Tooch? The non-penalty pass interference call.
Yep. And, Mahomes took out his own best receiver.
Yeah.
With diving at someone's knees, he ended up taking out his own receiver.
Yeah, but I still, Dan, don't think that it's a conspiracy on the part of the referees or the NFL to give the Chiefs these calls. I just think that every great team and great players gets the benefit of the calls. But I don't think it's on purpose. I refuse to believe that without evidence.
Anybody since Jordan.
You can't say that. You don't even watch the games.
Well, I don't watch them now. Again, I've seen 2 plays this year, and it was that PI call which I saw later in the other game where the Ravens thing. When I don't even want to talk about it. It just upsets me. It's like, why even watch it? Because you know what's going to happen at the end of the way. They're going to find a way to give Kansas City the game, and then they're going to focus on Taylor Swift and that fucking tight end I hate too. Like, I don't want anything to do with the Chiefs. They make me hate football. I watch the Bears. I watch the Bears. Fuck their soap opera. Fuck the Chiefs. I hope they lose the next 14 games, or however many fucking games they have.
One of the reasons I like the Chiefs is that the mythology of the Raiders and the Chiefs and Hank Stram.
And I'll go for the Raiders.
What?
You said the mythology of the Raiders and the Chiefs. I said, okay, well, I'll be going for the Raiders when they play them.
But what about when the Chiefs play the Broncos?
I'll be going for Denver.
No!
I
Sean
hate Kansas
Payton?
City.
How about
I hate
if the,
Kansas City more than anybody but Green Bay.
How about if the Broncos or the Chiefs played the Steelers, Dan?
I'll be going for Pittsburgh.
What do you
Really?
think? What do you think of this comparison?
I root for Justin. I root for him every week.
Who's having a better season right now?
Yeah, but fuck. Who's undefeated all the time thanks to the officials? Kansas City.
What do you think, Aldo? Who's having the better season?
I think the stats don't always tell the truth, but these stats tell me that the Steelers have improved from a year ago. That's for sure. When they couldn't fucking, they looked like one of the worst teams in the NFL. But this year they have a real chance of winning that division.
Can I ask you guys a question? I was going to ask you: is the NFC North the toughest division in football?
Fucking A.
It would appear so.
Close race with the AFC West. But I'll tell you this. I didn't expect the Vikings to be who the Vikings are. Did you guys?
No, not with Sam Darnold.
Not really, but I mean, when you look back at it, they have 2 excellent coaches, man. Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores. And Brian Flores is the best defensive coordinator in the NFL, hands down.
Do you think he should get another shot at head coaching?
Yeah, definitely. I think he will.
Even with all the stories about how he treated Tua, basically telling him you're a fucking piece of shit. You'll never be a number 1 quarterback.
Wasn't Brian Flores? They wanted him. The Dolphins owner wanted him to throw games too.
Yeah, and he sued him and won.
Right,
Yeah.
sued him and won. That's why NFL owners might not be keen on giving him another shot though. After that,
I don't think he's going to be a head coach. I really don't.
It's too bad.
Not for, he's still a young man, so it could be 10, 20 years from now.
Yeah.
But I don't think in these next hiring cycles he's going to get a shot.
They blitz more than any other team in the NFL, so it's a good thing Caleb's learned to handle the blitz better.
Well, I was going to say, have the Vikings, outside of their win against Green Bay, have they played quality opponents? Do you know?
They beat San Francisco.
They beat the 49ers, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, it's weird because the 49ers lost
They
to
beat
the Rams.
the Texans.
So
yeah,
maybe
the 49ers should have won that game. I mean, their field goal kicker missed that clutch kick.
Yeah.
Well, they beat the Texans.
They beat the Texans.
Remember, we played the Texans.
They beat the 49ers. They beat the Packers. Those are 3 good.
When the Bears played the Texans,
they played the Dolphins the first game this year. I forget who the Vikings.
They played the Giants opening week. When the Bears played the Texans, we were told that we were playing the 72 Dolphins. So I mean, they must have beaten the best team of all time, the Houston Texans.
They played the Giants. Did we play the Giants this year?
No.
Okay. I know we would play the Commanders.
Play the Commanders right after the bye. Here's the
'cause
schedule.
Yeah.
So, okay.
The AFC South is the worst division in football, according to win percentages. So we've already played 3 AFC South teams, and we've gone 1-2.
But we're 1-0 in the conference.
We're 1-0 in the conference. Yep. And like I said, this is the sweet spot of the schedule right here: Panthers to Patriots,
right.
Week 5 to Week 10.
I don't like saying that because Washington seems to be hot right now.
Yeah, Washington.
You got to go to Europe.
Team.
Jacksonville plays in Europe every year. They're accustomed to it. Carolina's got revenge on their minds for that trade, and Andy Dalton. The Cardinals. You just never know. I mean, I could see that being a blowout win either way. And then New England, they should beat, and then you got I take them 1 week at a time.
That starts the gauntlet. Those 11 through 18 are tough. There's not an easy game in there.
But at least it's in a way that Caleb should be much better at that by that time, like a seasoned vet almost, almost not necessarily a rookie when you're, almost through a complete season. And you get those games, the first two were at Soldier Field, with Green Bay and Minnesota. And maybe by then we've got a pile of wins under our belt. So the schedule may be more conducive for us to be better by playing those games later in the season.
We better be better, or the wheels are going to come horribly off, Aldo.
Totally agree. But this is my fantasy.
Man. It's a gauntlet.
Will Sam Darnold come down to earth by then? Chances are, yes.
Yes, exactly. This is my fantasy. Okay, we've got one game under our belt for a streak. Panthers, we're going to fucking demolish them. We're going to go and demolish the Jaguars. Why? Because Trevor Lawrence has lost it. He's never had it. So that's going to be 3 wins in a row. Then we got a bye, which gives us a lot of extra time to study what Cliff Kingsbury is doing with that quarterback, Jaden Daniels. And we're going to upset the Commanders on the road and then travel cross country to Arizona and beat a team that sometimes looks good and sometimes looks bad, but it's Arizona. We always beat Arizona. The Patriots, they are already talking about firing their head coach. So that's an 8-game winning streak right there.
Oh, let's pump the brakes now.
First place Commanders, by the way. 3-1, first place, alone atop the NFC.
Exactly. So let's not talk any shit. Let's just take it 1 week at a time and let's beat Carolina.
No, I want to talk shit. I want a team where I can talk shit. I want to be able to brag again.
Well, unfortunately, I have to go. I'm sorry. I don't have to go to 911 tonight, but I'm on the air at midnight, and I'm not ready. So I got to do my my radio show.
Oh, no.
All right, Danny. Nope.
But it's been fun, and hopefully we'll be back next week with the Bears' victory, back-to-back wins. That feels great. And did you know the Bears have won 7 in a row at Soldier Field now?
Yep.
Going back to last year. How about that?
7-game win streak. We're 20 away from that Dolphins record, Dan.
Dan, give Flus credit. A lot of people, were writing him off last year, and suddenly he's won 7 in a row at home. That's pretty good. It's significant.
It is significant.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I got to go. I'm sorry it was abrupt.
Tell Nikki I said hi.
She's listening.
All right. Love you, Nikki. Bye-bye.
Is Foster still in the chat room?
Foster is there. He is trying to hit on some of the guys on there. So I think Foster goes both ways.
He was because he changed his fantasy football team to the fucking Fosters because
they suck, huh?
In one of our leagues, the Guillotine League, Foster's in, and he slept through the draft. So it auto drafted, and like he had the high score this past week. And Anthony's always been like, every time Foster survives, he did it last year too. He was supposed to get chopped, and he survives. Anthony's always like, fucking Foster, And I have this for Foster today. It's like
me at 2-2 in my fantasy league after preparing all summer. That's Tiger Woods, and then Daly saying, "My buddy who auto drafted sitting at." That's good.
Foster is the guy on the right.
Yeah, that's John Daly.
4-0. Those pants are great, though. Although look at those pants.
Do you know the story of that golfer?
You think you could pull those off? Those pants, though?
Fuck no. No,
I don't know the story there. He looks fantastic, though, doesn't he?
This guy was called because the PGA Championship.
Overweight.
Yeah, the PGA Championship had an opening like a day or two before that event started, and so he drove 400 miles, played in that tournament, and won the PGA tournament. So now he was on the top of the golf world, and then he just starts to fucking drink and smoke and
party. He was a partier.
Oh my gosh, he is in desperate need of help. Still is. From what I understand. That's Foster. Yeah, that's a good way to look at
Foster.
Bananas.
When you said Cliff Kingsbury, I accidentally thought Cliff Victoria for a second there. The way Cliff Kingsbury's got those Commanders playing, I was like, oh, okay. What does Cliff Victoria do with the Commanders?
Cliff Victoria, that's funny. But yeah, hindsight being 2020, would you have hired Cliff Kingsbury to be the offensive coordinator for Caleb, given what he has done with Jaden, which basically was do what you did at LSU? And he would have told Caleb, don't worry about changing to the pro game. We're going to change to what you did at USC.
It's hard to say because I really liked Clint Kubiak in the San Francisco system as well too. Shane Waldron was a guy I knew the least about.
Yeah.
I was under the impression that he developed brought Geno Smith out, and all along it might have been other people. Shane Waldron, he might have come on to his interview and been like, "Look what I did with Geno Smith."
Yeah.
But in hindsight, it might have been, the Commanders didn't punt for two games. They never sent the punter out.
Yeah,
they were just going for it on fourth down because they knew they could do it with Jaden Daniels. Caleb Williams isn't that type of dynamic runner though that Jaden Daniels is. That's more of like Justin Fields. Justin Fields, Jaden Daniels are similar players. That may be why the Bears stayed with the pick at the number 1 spot and took Caleb Williams. They didn't want another Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Arguably,
I think they're one and the same. I really do believe Caleb and Justin are very, very similar. I think Caleb is smarter from what I can tell just based on press conferences.
Yeah.
And I think that he
a little more down to earth.
Yeah, I hate to say this because he hasn't shown this, but I think he's more accurate than Justin Fields. But he hasn't really proven it over 4 games.
Yeah, at least not on the deep ball, which is really kind of not like him. But like you said, like JT O'Sullivan has said that like all some of these receivers aren't running, maybe what the play is asking them to run.
Yes.
So we don't know. We had that problem. JT O'Sullivan said the same thing with Luke Getsy's offense. This guy looks like, what's this guy? Claypool was one guy running out there. It's like, where the hell is he going? Komet was in the wrong, ran the wrong route and stuff, So, it's just.
I wonder how often they say that about the majority of the NFL teams, because I got to believe that has to be kind of a huge problem. Fewer practices in the NFL and offensive coordinators who want to show off their genius, and so they put way too much in the fucking playbook. They want to always, let's run out of the shotgun 4 times inside the 5-yard line as opposed to playing good old-fashioned football. It's Matt Nagy saying, they didn't bring me here to run the I formation. Fuck you, dude. Fuck you, and fuck you. We brought you here to win. Do whatever it takes, even if it's running out of the old T formation.
As Dan Aguirre said, that was a lot of certitude.
Exactly.
Matt Nagy,
Oh my God. It's like, dude, Mike Northland, the opening to his show here on the Barroom Network, says Matt Nagy's getting coffee for Andy Reid. I love that line.
Yeah, it's true.
I found the shot of Nagy looking around for the coffee machine. How'd you do with betting this week, Tooch?
I did pretty good, I think. Yeah. God, what were the 2? I had 2 nice plays for Sunday. I had the Lions and I had the 49ers. And then I had the over in Bengals, Panthers, and over in Cardinals and Commanders. So a pretty good weekend.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yep.
Zach has asked twice now, can you hire a coordinator for more money than your head coach is making? Because Flus is making somewhere near $5 million. So could you hire an offensive coordinator like a Kingsbury, pay him $6 million, and he runs the offense that you want? I don't think that would go over well in the industry of pro football because there's so many macho guys and big egos and so forth. I mean, it was a strain for Mike Ditka to accept Buddy Ryan as his head coach now, as his defensive coordinator now. Buddy wasn't paid more than Mike, probably close to it though. And so, but they did end up winning a Super Bowl, so it did work. But that relationship was poisonous, man. So I don't know. What do you think about Zach's question here, Tooch?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. First of all, I don't know. I mean, I don't think so. I know that weren't. Yeah, because like you said, Dick and Buddy Ryan were kind of either close in pay, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen it like that way again in the NFL. So I would have to say no.
Yeah, I would stay away from a scenario like that.
Lovey got rid of Ron Rivera too when he became a threat. You know.
The NFL is so, hierarchical and, goes by that old military kind of system that I would hate to be the owner to be the first one to disrupt that. You need a head coach. You need to pay him the most. He needs to bring in his coordinators, guys that he likes and understands and agrees with their philosophy. And then those guys should bring in their position coaches to teach the players how to play that system. I think that's tried and true. I wouldn't really want to deviate from that. It is a good old boys network, Cliff Victoria. Cliff is right 95% of the time.
Yep.
I'm leaving that 5% out, Cliff. Anything else you want to touch on before I go to bed?
Well, Anthony and I have been doing the World Series of handicapping.
Oh, tell us about that.
Games against the spread.
Uh-huh.
So what am I sitting right here? About midway down.
What's the name?
Spot I'm in.
I see it. John Santucci VIP, 15, 12, and 1. You got 6.10, 6.30 points. I hate to say this, Tooch, but you're a little far behind here.
I'm 21st overall, but there's a lot more people than below that,
Okay, gotcha.
So 21st in the country.
That's not bad.
Not bad. Yeah, I
mean,
when
you look at it that way,
I'm gonna drop.
No, don't say that. No, you're not.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty far behind the leader, who's just been on an amazing run. But
well, the leader has got a 21-5-2 record, and your record really isn't that far behind. It's
you have
15,
to rank
12,
the games.
and 1.
7. You pick 7.
Okay.
You rank them 7-1, and it's against the spread or the total over
Gotcha.
under. So I've been pretty lucky so far, but it's tough, man. Very, very tough to do.
Heidi's going to bed. You want to say something?
I love Heidi. Good night, Heidi.
Oh, that sounded very sexy.
Yeah, I like how they use DeAndre Swift too. I was a Swift doubter, Aldo.
I don't blame you.
Yeah,
don't blame you. But
I think the Rams' offense had a lot to do with it. I mean, they besides the two rookie from Florida State, they weren't, other guys weren't really doing much,
Yeah. Yeah, I think this Rams team, I don't know how the hell they beat San Francisco. I had the game on, but I wasn't really studying it.
They can't tackle the Rams. They're terrible tacklers. But you know who else can't tackle, Aldo?
Who?
The Panthers.
Yay!
Yeah. We're looking good, man.
I'll take it. Absolutely.
I think those are the two worst tackling teams in the NFL as far as tackling percentage.
And the Bears got to get their penalties down.
Oh, dude. I texted Dan Aguirre my first text during the game. So many penalties. That was my text. Like, what the hell, man?
And
all the pre-snap penalties. Cole Kmet
penalized twice, and then when he's asked about it, he says,
Kevin
it's a team thing. We all gotta improve. So I got a feeling I wish one of the reporters would ask this question. Is okay, the cadence, how much of that is really a part of these false start penalties? Because Cole kind of made it seem like the cadence stuff is still a problem. So
could be, you're right. Could be right. I don't know. I wasn't really looking at that when I watched the game and rewatched, but
yeah, you don't expect it to happen.
Yeah,
not 4 games into the season.
Yeah.
Anyway, it is time to call this show.
Tooch, my wife is home tonight.
Oh.
Yeah. I think she wants some sex, Aldo. So
really?
I got to go to work after this.
Well, I want to.
She might
is that her?
No, she might be able to hear us up there, but...
Tell her I'm on my way, honey. Tell her I said hi, and everyone else on the chat Tooch and I send you our best, and Dan Aguirre as well. Thank you very much for joining us live.
Yeah.
The show is available on demand. If you know some perverted person who likes the Bears, send them this show and tell them about the bar room. They're really appreciate it. On the way out, hit the like button, leave a review, all that stuff. Do something nice for us. All right?
Hit that like button. Yep.
And listen, I'll give you this treat shot on the way out. And I'll give you another one.
Sweet dreams, everybody.
Exactly. That'll help you sleep. Goodbye, everyone. Tooch, love you.
Good night.
Good night.